Got it. Yeah, Wayne. Hey,
look at that.
Now we got audio.
It's working now.
We got audio.
All right, so start over.
Probably.
Oh, my goodness.
You're listening to the Beans and Dice podcast, a podcast about how we game.
Oh, this is the part where we talk about who that was.
Let's try that again.
Hey, Nick.
Who is that?
Do you recognize that voice?
Oh, yeah. That's Joyce.
I think I heard this before.
Voice of the Beans and Dice.
That is Joyce, the voice of Beans and Dice. And with us, joining us today as our special guest, my man Nick Oben, the worst half of the Oben couple.
You're trying that joke again?
Yes, I'm doing that joke again.
Oh, yeah.
go ahead.
It didn't land the first time, so we tried it the second time.
It didn't land because the audio wasn't working.
That's right.
The second time
We had a little warm up there before you could hear us. So
But if you don't know already, the three of us schmucks are always on here. I'm Carlos.
I'm Rob.
And I'm Wayne.
Hi, I'm Nick from Wesley Chapel.
Calling from Wesley Chapel.
That's right.
Axe throwing.
That's right.
But
I
tonight
actually
was not
have-
axe throwing.
Yeah, I actually have the axe pin up here in the hat somewhere. There it is.
Yeah,
no,
all right.
no axe throwing tonight, so I'm hanging out with you guys.
But what you did do,
What I do?
is he brought
Not doo-doo?
Expeditions,
I brought Expeditions
a sequel
Stonemeyer?
to Scythe.
Yeah.
over there.
It's his camera
It's
angle.
kind of behind me over here somewhere.
We got it.
Over this way.
There it is.
There it is. There it is. And look at that. It's ironclad, baby. That's the ironclad.
Upgraded, expensive, fancy edition.
Nice.
My man. So what we're gonna do before we start the phone call portion of the show, usually around 9:20, we turn on the phones. I say usually around because it's me.
Sometimes
we
nothing
get
is
carried away.
nothing's
Stuff
always
happens,
exactly
yeah.
scheduled. But we are gonna go into a giveth the beans of our first play of Expeditions for me and Wayne.
Two of them was first
But
shot.
two folks here who are going to give the majority of the opinion have been playing for a lot longer than we have since it first showed up on the retail space.
Right.
Because my man Nick Oben at the Dice Tower East was one of the first folks to pick up a copy in the wild from Stonemeyer Games. I think it was What was it?
Meeple Source.
Meeple Source
Right.
was selling copies on behalf of Stonemeyer Games. They had them shipped right to Dice Tower. They weren't even there day one.
Right,
Yep.
right, including the Ironclad edition, and to the much chagrin of some of the backers, before people who bought it in the pre-order got theirs. So
Yeah.
hey, Jim,
Yeah.
I'm glad you got your copy now and you're playing. But yeah.
Well, Jim was
yeah.
with us at Dice Tower,
yeah.
so he got to
And-
see you hold your copy.
That's right. That's right.
I played Jim's copy and I played your copy. So
There you go.
There we go.
So let's give it the beans. What is give it the beans? I know Robert is not enamored with the title.
Don't quite understand the giveth, but other than that,
The
I'm
beans
good.
part
Well,
is
I'm gonna
good.
give
Yeah,
it
the
to
beans
you.
is good.
Giveth
He's
is
gonna give it to you.
Giveth is a
I'ma
little,
give it
little
to you,
strange.
baby.
Yeah, the giveth is. I'm not sure where that comes from.
Very like
So-
Renaissance Festival.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah, okay.
thank you.
There you go.
I like-
Renaissance
it's a little bit of nerd in there.
Yeah.
Extra geek. Give it the beans stands for BEANS. It's the basics of the game, the enjoyment that we had in the play, the aesthetics of the game, which combines the actual production value, which I learned is a thing. It's a whole. No, go to the Discord, follow it. You'll see where my English got improved.
Good discussion on that.
Right. Good discussion on what production value means. So that's really the aesthetics. Then the negatives of our play, and then finally summary. I love how our show name, Beans, allows for that acronym to have a nice, robust discussion about a game.
It's almost like we
Coincidence.
planned that out.
Yeah, exactly.
And we are all about giving back to the community.
We
That's
give
what-
it.
That's why we give the beans.
Give a
give
thing.
it.
Give a thing.
Let us give you some information on these beans here. Basics. Robert, you're our. Well,
Oh,
you know
no,
what?
no,
After
yeah.
listening
Don't
to
have me
Wayne's
do it.
podcast
Yeah, don't have
last
me do
night,
it. No, don't have me do it.
our rules teach was the topic on Wayne and Mitchell's podcast last night. So there's a lot of discussion about that.
Oh, yeah.
Nick, would you like to give us the basics, a brief basics of how the game plays?
Sure, we can do that. So in Expeditions, you are controlling a mech. It's an asymmetric exploration, resource gathering, deck builder game. So you're controlling a mech, moving around the. I don't know if you want to bring up any images
I
or
got it,
whatever.
Carlos.
Moving around this map, exploring new regions. And what's really nice about it is it's an action selection game. One of the main reasons why it's a sequel to Scythe, and that's printed on the box. I don't know
Sequel?
that it's unanimous in the agreement of that, but it's printed on the box. A sequel to Scythe. It is the same artwork, similar background and environment that you're in. But the neat thing about it is, on your turn, it's an action selection game where you have to move an action token and take actions. The neat trick being that you can't do the same thing that you did last time. Won't get into a whole thing on Scythe, but that's a big thing. Is if you moved last time, you can't move again this time. In expeditions, is pairs of actions, so you might move and gather, or play and gather, or move and play, or whatever, but you can never do the same combo twice in a row. So you're basically maximizing your ability to pair these actions, knowing you can't do the same thing again next time, to gather resources and improve your mech, build up your mech, and explore the area. Ultimately satisfying victory conditions that are laid out there, public objectives. So it's a public objective game, which is nice. There's 7 public objectives. We're all racing to try to get 4 of them. Though if you get one, Carlos gets one, I can still get one. It's just a race to 4. And then that triggers the end of the game. And then you see who wins.
And money gets you win. Everything converts to money.
Everything.
Yeah, pretty
Points
much.
are money. Money are points. Yep.
Well, they're coins.
Yeah, coins.
So we got to call it money.
The nice Stonemeyer.
Well, it came with cardboard. We'll talk about that
Yeah.
as we get into these.
Production value.
So, and this is the fun part, right up front in this conversation, we get right into the enjoyment, right? We get to talk about the fun stuff that we had in this game. Rob, you want to share some of the enjoyments that you enjoyed in this game?
Sure, the combos in this are good. I mean, you've got those actions that you're trying to combo up and to plan out your turn to where you can make the most out of each turn. Action economy, I guess, is a buzzword around that. So you're trying to pair up your actions so that you can move and then maybe trigger a gather action, which is going to allow you to get something that may then allow you to do another action that you wouldn't normally be able to do. You've got the play action, which allows you to play cards from your quote-unquote hand from one side of your board basically to the other side, because your hand in this is open. Everything stays out on the table, all open information. Even though they call it a hand, it's laying out on the left side of your board. As you activate cards, you're moving them from the left side to the right side. I know that was a big beef of Nick's when we first played.
Hang on, that's for the negatives.
No, that's fine. I just said, well, first time we played, he was...
I'm making a face over here.
Yeah.
And I can't not.
Yeah. So anyway, those combos are nice. The other thing about it, I am a big fan of Scythe. Scythe was a game I didn't love the first time I played, but then as we played it more, I became addicted to it for a little while. Just wanted to play it all the time, and it's got those kind of cool things. Again, as Mick mentioned, the having to plan out that you can't do the exact same combination of actions. No Rooseviettes in this one, so you can't play that ability where you can just sit there and do the thing over and over again. But so you got to plan out, hey, this time I'm going to move because I need to get in position, so the next time I can do the gather and play or whatever. So those combinations, those limitations, and trying to figure out how to work around those limitations is a thinky part of the game and makes it a lot of fun. So
Which is enjoyable.
Yeah, I enjoy that part.
That was enjoyable. We'll go.
I mean, similar. I mean, if you like games where you're going to get a bunch of cards and you got to try to string them together to get the most bang for an action, like the actions are very quick and simple, which I like. And then if you play it right and you build that engine, you squeeze every possible bit of juice from that orange, right? And so if you like Scythe, if you like Tapestry, if you like Aquatica, games where you're trying to build an engine, this is a very in a similar vein of all that, but I think it's actually a little bit simpler. And I say that in a good way. Like there's not like it's not you're not going to have that analysis paralysis of how can I possibly string together 30 cards in one play to make this like epic thing. You could probably get 2 or 3 things to string together, and that's a good play. Yeah. And it's quick and snappy. And I think what's funny though is I think one of the criticisms of the game outside of what we're talking about now is that it plays long, but we cranked through a 4-player game in like
a little over 2 hours.
With teach about 2 hours.
Teach about 2 hours.
But you did say crank, and I don't even felt that we cranked. There was no. Yeah. And when you say cranked, I know you're talking about like how much time it took us, but I don't felt like we had a pressure to finish early.
No. But
right?
We got
and
through
we
it
still got
quick.
through it pretty quick.
We still got through it pretty quick.
I think we did a good job of like if you knew you were going to refresh, you could just be like, yeah, Wayne, go ahead and take your turn and refresh. Refresh is one of the other actions you can take.
And I think we did a good job. Hey, I'm only on one side of the board. My actions are in no way going to affect you. I can do my turn because it's coming up next.
But that's also a benefit of having this consistent game group.
Yeah, a little bit.
As we get to know each other, right? Yeah. It's those unsaid cues. Right. To kind of realize, okay, Wayne's already gone, so now I can get up and go. And,
but I'm not the biggest fan of that type of game, that sort of engine building combo game. But this sort of felt like a good sort of almost entry into it almost.
Well, and I like what you just said there. The limited in a good way. The decision space was contained.
Right.
To only interesting things, I thought, really. Mm-hmm. Like, when it's your turn, it was like you look down and you're either, crap, I have to refresh, or, oh, I really only have, I can move and gather or move and play. because I know I can't do like everything, right?
Yep.
So that contained decision space I like a lot, as opposed to some of the other games we played more recently, where I actually talked about, we'll talk about later in the show,
Marrakesh, yeah.
where the decision space is so big.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Paralyzing.
almost, yeah.
And Nick had fun with that one.
Yeah, I had fun, but it took so long because I felt this pressure to do it right.
Right.
And in a decision space that large, doing it right just takes longer.
Yeah. So I like that. My enjoyment was in the tight decision space.
Right. Very good.
I think my enjoyment,
No, go ahead.
my enjoyment had to do with, again, and this is a Stonemeyer thing, is the positive play experience, very few negative experiences. Right? Most games, Robert and I were talking about that. In one of his recent plays, he shared about having a small hand size and having to
What to do with it?
Not the size that matters.
a small hand size and having to refresh consistently, like over and over again, because he didn't have a lot of cards to splay out and play. But I said, and when I talked about, I'm okay with that in a sense, because the refresh action in this game allows you to take all 3 actions on the following turn. Where on a normal turn, you're only going to take 2 actions. So you're really only losing like half a turn, is what Robert called it.
That's
You
what
know,
Jamie
when you
says.
refresh, you only lose half a turn.
Stegmeyer said, yeah.
Yep. But I don't think it's quite half a turn, because the efficiency gained from being able to do all 3 at one time can create combos that make it not even like losing a half turn. It's almost like getting a 2.5.
Right.
You know,
If you do it right, that extra turn.
that extra action in that turn
Yeah.
can lead to even more scoring. And like getting to a place before somebody else gets there, swooping that 20, right? That 20 twin corruption token that's out there. So that's where I really like that positive play experience.
I mean, because you just mentioned how the positive play experience is great. There was that one turn where almost in frustration, you were like, I don't want to do any of the things I can. I'll just refresh. Which ended up being the great move for you, because the next turn was that turn that I looked over and I'm like, that was a heck of a turn you just had, Carlos. When you did all 3, you like cleared
I'm
2
moving,
corruption
I'm
tokens,
gathering, which then allowed me to play the card, which
companion,
allowed me to vanquish, because I gathered what I needed in order to get the power to vanquish. I was able to get corruption, which led to me getting enough corruption to be able to throw a star to ring the bell on. I mean,
It was a big turn. It was really cool. Yeah.
So that's my enjoyment. And at this point, we went around the horn, and now we throw it out there. Any other enjoyments that nobody brought up yet? But Jamie Stegmeyer's going to be disappointed if we only had 4 enjoyments, gentlemen.
I like, so I'll say this. I found, and I'll tip my hat a little bit to the part where this is a sequel to Scythe. I think it creates Scythe-like experiences of those public objectives, and we can all see where we are. Like, oh, he's got a bunch of quests, or he's going for the map tokens or whatever. And but you getting it doesn't stop me from getting it. But it's just this neat race condition that I'm always like aware of and looking at. And I just like having the public objectives out there. I think it helps more with that decision space we talked about already, where it's like, okay, I only have 4 stars. There's 7 public objectives. I only need to get 4 of them. We talked about that as well. Which 4 am I going for? It gives me this path to march down that then in this play, that's what I did. I was like, I picked the 4 that I was going to go for and just did those. Yep. So the game helped me play it, if that makes sense. It didn't play it for me. It wasn't autoplay, right? I had to make decisions every turn, but the game helped me figure out how to win. I like that.
And I think, the Scythe universe is kind of a cool universe. And I think, in the next 5-10 years, we may see books written in it, or as an IP, it could almost be something that gets optioned, right, for a show, right? And so what?
They already got a video game. The art, right?
The
that's
art,
right.
yeah, that's right. Yeah,
That's right.
So the Scythe is kind of like the game that's about the whole world, and this game zooms in to one area and covers a specific event. So it opens the world for additional games in the future, or you could take you could take this Expeditions game, and expansion could be new boards where you're in a different area of the world now.
Sure.
Dealing with a different
same player match, but different world.
Right, different area that's dealing with a different crisis.
And all it takes is a stack of hexagonal tiles and
correct, and new
hexagonal
and some new cards, right? Yeah.
And there was that moment, because I actually wrote down that was going to be my next enjoyment. You brought it up. It's that flavor of the world of Scythe. There was a moment where I turned to Rob and said, "I see it now." like I see the layout of these hexes, and I see that everything to the south where we start the game, where our mechs start before we start exploring, are the basics things that I remember seeing in playing Scythe. The farmlands, the rivers, the bridges, right? All the things that you would see on a Scythe board. But then as you start heading north, you start seeing that transition.
Working into the
One of the
tundra
tiles was called the Crater Rim. Right, another tile was the impact zone, and on the art you can see a mech kind of crawling over the crater rim of like a giant asteroid crater. And then you see like burning trees on the next location, fire. Then you see the green lit Charterstone, haha.
Yeah.
See what he did there.
Yeah.
Charterstone tile that has like a teleportation device. So the farther north you get, the more closer you get to that meteoroid strike, and all the art is just so evocative of that world. And that's what I really enjoyed, is while waiting for my turns, I'm just going around looking at your cards, my cards, the board, and kind of enjoying that world. And Wayne, I didn't even think about that. All it would take is a stack of cards, so a new deck with art of a different location, a different event in the history of Scythe, and boom, you're exploring a whole nother piece of that world.
Man, you're finding a lot in there.
Theme.
My
There
negatives
was only
going
one cube.
hinting towards negatives. One of my big negatives was going to be. I mean, this could have been anything. This is just that world kind of slapped on some mechanisms.
We'll save it. We'll get there. Aesthetics. All right, let's run through aesthetics
All
real
right,
quick.
yeah.
Production value. This is the Ironclad. How much was this Ironclad?
So the Ironclad,
Oh, you're gonna make him say it?
I know. I'm trying to remember. I think it was 110. Was it
Okay,
110?
so
Sounds right. Yeah.
over 100 for that, and then
Yeah.
retail of the regular would be what?
80.
80-ish?
It was like 80.
That's not a huge difference to go Ironclad.
It's not a huge difference, but I believe, and commenters correct me if I'm wrong, I believe the only difference is literally the metal mechs. So $30 for just upgraded metal mechs, because the plastic
But
mechs
these are not
are good.
just metal mechs, because you're looking at $25, right? If I remember correctly, I think it was $25 for a set of four Scythe metal
yeah.
mechs, which are maybe a quarter the size of these metal mechs.
These guys are large, yeah. We
Yeah.
could
These,
put
these
them
are
on.
listed as deadly weapons in like 8 states.
Yeah.
Like, that's how big
If
these
you
mechs
chuck 'em,
are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's only 5
you
of
go to
them.
Philadelphia, they
But
put
I think-
these things in socks and like
Yeah.
swing them at you.
I think like what Nick's gonna say though is like the plastic mechs, the detail on the plastic
Yeah.
mechs is just as
They were
good.
nice.
good.
Yeah.
Or
Plastic
better.
were nice,
Or better,
yeah.
even,
Yeah, because you can get more detail out of the
And
plastic.
I think the other thing I would say is with the if you're a Stormire champion, you get 20% off, and if you pre-ordered it early, so you
Who's the
could-
Stormite champion? Who's the Stormite champion here? Oh,
Just Lane.
just me and Wayne. Just me and Wayne.
But I'm saying like,
I
you
need
could have
to
ordered
get
that base game. I think it actually came to like $60 or something like that with all
Right.
the discounts and stuff initially. But
Aesthetically, I mean, it's Stonemaier games. The cardboard quality is strong. You don't have warping of the tiles. I didn't notice any warping of the cardboard, although it's thick cardboard.
Storage
The card
solution's
quality
good.
is great.
Not
Storage
yet.
solution built
Yeah,
into
that's
this,
nice.
It cleaned up in minutes. Like,
Yeah.
and it's set up in minutes.
yeah.
Like,
yeah.
the setup
It
was
really
great.
wasn't bad, yeah.
Yeah, there's a little extra room in that box, if I recall. I know people talked about. Looks like it's ready for an expansion or some more stuff to come
Right.
out. So
Yep.
yeah.
So not only were the components wonderful, but also the artwork.
So we're going to go there. When Chris mentioned in the chat there, I don't know if anybody brought it up.
Yeah,
yet,
I did.
but,
I did
the
share what Chris had
hullabaloo about
mentioned.
the artwork. Kind of surprised that they would go back to that well, because I think
Jacob Roslowski.
Roslowski. Yeah.
Apparently, if I remember correctly, what Chris is talking about was there was some imagery that was very similar to the art used in Scythe.
Very clearly copied, but yeah.
I think there was a picture of a pig. Like literally, there was one with the pigs
there was a couple, but
that looked like it came exactly from someone else's
He just
painting.
added the mech.
Yeah.
Like, you just kind of like
Basically.
threw a mech in the
Yeah.
background.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's so evocative.
But
And
listen,
if
I'm
you
a-
don't know the backstory, it's just good art.
Here's what I have to say about that, about Jacob and that incident. My God is a God of redemption. Okay.
Well, boy.
Right. So, hey, Jacob, that last time, some of that art was questionable. Hey, this time, let's not do that.
But I think,
Let's
it's,
hope.
And then boom, we're
Let's
good.
hope,
it
yeah.
wasn't just a 100% copy. It was he took
Inspired.
Inspired. There's room for that, especially now. Yeah, I mean,
So I think I'm okay with it. Just-
Yeah.
and then we're done talking about
but
that.
it died off quick. It didn't
In
continue
the
on.
meantime, the art is really cool.
Yeah.
It's fun. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
your character had like a Siberian tiger as
Yeah.
a companion. You had like it's great.
I want to see
Monkey.
a TV show in this one.
I had a monkey,
Yeah, monkey.
Yeah.
and he was kicking butt.
Monkey,
Yeah.
go get stuff.
there's a I was thinking the other day, like on the way over here, I know like, Carlson and I like watching movies and TV shows that invoke the theme, and I'm like, well, what TV show would be like Scythe like, right? And the only one I can think of is there's a Netflix series called Shadow and Bone, and it's like it has this sort of like World War One-ish feel, and it has like mechs and like giant fighting things. Well, not mechs, but like it has like some like, but it also has magic, so it kind of gets a little screwy. But it has the look and feel of the characters, like the that sort of Bolshevik-y World War One era,
European.
like European type
Alternate
thing.
history kind of
Alternate
feeling.
history kind
Who's
of thing.
peeing?
Huh?
European? I'm a peeing.
This is what I bring to the show.
This is what listen, it's how we game.
Yeah.
Sorry, folks. It's how we do. So aesthetics, we're good there. That one's pretty quick. And listen, folks, the phones will open eventually once we get through this.
Yeah, we're going
Are we still in production value though?
Yeah, what else are we
Because the
missing?
owner, I mean,
Yep.
I,
You guys speak on that.
I'm going to log some complaints there to Jamie,
here we go.
personal
So-
friend of the
So
show.
Oh, yeah.
production value into negatives.
Yeah, the
Well, production value, we can get negative on that.
so,
yeah.
so I paid $30 extra for the metal mechs, which then don't fit in the silicone
rubber condoms, yeah.
Cups.
Player
It's not 10 o'clock yet, Rob.
And I mean, it's not even like subtle, like, oh, maybe if no, it's not. They don't fit. It's really poorly done. Like they mismeasured the
Yeah.
micrometers or whatever. And
Just
it's
by
like,
just a little bit, so just enough that you
They pop
keep
out.
forcing it in there, thinking it's gonna stay,
But because of the properties of silicone, it
Yeah.
kind of like it just pops off.
yeah. And the silicone's not going to stretch. I mean, it's
Yeah.
not going to like beat it in or whatever.
And it's
so-
probably not a big enough thing for him to like offer replacements.
right.
Yeah.
Right. And it would have to be like millimeter larger silicone things. or
I can't recall. I'm sure Jim's in the chat still. I'm assuming. Although I don't, have we seen Jim in the chat yet tonight?
I don't think so.
He might be betraying us to watch football.
Yeah, he might be watching football tonight, but opening night of the NFL tonight. But anyway, he told me that there actually was a solution. I just don't remember what it was.
okay.
He said
Probably,
that
probably take a notch out of one of the
yeah,
edge
there
of
was
it.
something that
Boil
they
it or
said,
something?
fix
I
it.
don't know.
Yeah, it was something weird. So, but I forgot what he said what it was. So
That's a good point on the production value.
Yeah.
Positive for the production value for the aesthetics. The box itself is a gorgeous box. I love the portrait size, kind of like that Concordia feel to it in the
Like-
box size, like a nice big portrait, not landscape, not square, right? Portrait box. But then lay it down and it fits right in your calyx.
Yeah, it fits in the couch.
Like, for God's sakes, any company that doesn't make a box that doesn't fit into the calyx.
but I was just checking. I was just looking on both sides to make sure it fits in there. So it looks like it barely does.
On its side, standing up it wouldn't though.
no,
Okay.
stand up,
Yeah,
but just
yeah.
lay it down.
If you're again,
Well, on its side. I mean, I store it vertical.
Are you a vertical?
I'm a vertical.
Yeah.
Really?
I was gonna say it will bother some people because that long box is not going to allow people to put some in some things.
Unless you've got your calyx like super flush. I store it in and it fits in because there's always
Vertical?
there's always like 2 inches.
No, not vertical.
further.
Yeah,
Not
vertical.
vertical.
but it's
Not
got to go on the
vertical.
side. It's
No,
got to
yeah.
go on the side.
Oh, okay.
vertically.
Yeah.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Go in vertical.
You
Yeah.
can't put it in like that. You got to put it on a side.
Flip it and
And
reverse
to
it.
me,
hey,
though, I would want to have like a
The
print of that
art
on
showing,
my wall.
yeah.
Almost, you know, it
Ke-
is
keeping
gorgeous.
a dimension within the width of a calyx, that tells me you cared. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
All right. That was BEA. So we did aesthetics. N for negatives.
I'm ready.
Go ahead.
It's your game.
Yeah, go
tagged
ahead.
in.
Yeah.
So I'll do one for a pet peeve and one for an actual gameplay problem. My pet peeve is the easy one. Stonemaier Games used the wrong word to describe the cards that are available to you to play. He called it a hand. Everyone in the world knows that a hand of cards is in
Private.
your hand.
No.
Like what? It's the word. Like right,
Shocking.
but just for
Where does the hand of cards go?
they go in your hand.
Stunning.
Yeah.
So Expeditions, though, in the rule book and throughout, is adamant about using the word hand with a capital H. Hand is the key word. Gain it to your hand, but the hand is then face up on the table. It's just the wrong word. Like, just call it your ready area or something, right? It's easy to have not done that mistake. So that's a pet peeve, but it's silly. I actually would love to understand the psychology of why you chose the word hand when it's just not a hand.
And on the phone right now we have Jamie Stegmeyer. He's calling it to explain.
All right. That obviously that's just semantics, so who cares? The gameplay thing that I didn't love and experienced it firsthand in this play is it's an asymmetric game. Is it? Really? Like, I literally forgot about my asymmetric
Yes, you did.
power.
I might be the only one that used my
two-thirds of
power the entire game.
Yeah, I did. I
So-
did. But
so-
yeah.
But they're crappy, right? Yours lets you trade in map tokens, and you did
It
it a few
wasn't-
times for a couple
wasn't
of
much.
points or
Yeah.
something, right?
Yeah.
It's an asymmetric game, unlike, for instance, Scythe, the game that is a sequel for,
Oh, yeah.
where you still make comments about Roosevelt because everyone knows that is an asymmetric game.
Very
Holy crap, you got the
asymmetric.
Roosevelt, that's
Yeah.
a different game, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
Here-
if I'm the Nordic, I know I got to set up differently. My first few turns have to be different. I got to go get certain resources before others. Here, it's just like a little side note,
Yeah.
little text box in the
Yep.
bottom.
Little
that-
differentiator.
And so I remembered to do mine the entire game because mine was simple. I got 4
Yours
movements
was
to
simple.
3.
Yeah, just
so
move.
I knew the whole game long. I was
And
moving
your metal
4
mech
away.
had 4 large spindly legs, like long.
It was very easy to remember. All your the rest of yours were very fiddly, where they were
Yeah.
like little things where you have
You
to
had
remember. Like do
they
it.
broke one rule, but you
Yeah.
had to remember it.
Yeah.
Right,
And I got to ask, I wasn't here for setup. Did you intentionally not include the one we didn't
we
play?
did not. Carlos
Which is
randomly
random?
dealt out.
Yeah,
Oh,
randomly
wow.
dealt.
So the one that we didn't play is the one that people complain that is way underpowered. I don't know if you looked, but the one that
it was the Nordic.
it's the one that allows you.
No,
to,
you had the Nordic.
all you can do is place a 5th card in the areas, but that
That's
doesn't
what it
come into
was.
play till the very end of the game because you're racing to try to get 4 the whole game
Right.
to place that 5th one. I mean, like,
Well,
wow.
placing a 5th one, the quest thing. If you max out 5 quests and 4 things, that's a bigger multiplier.
no,
would be-
because
it-
it doesn't.
3 plus.
3 plus.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
It would matter for the meteorites though. Playing a 5th meteorite would matter a lot.
Yeah.
Sure.
So a 5th
Or
quest
5th
wouldn't give you
upgrade.
more of a multiplier.
No.
No,
But-
in fact, the quests max out at 3. Even at 3, you're
yeah,
at
3.
max.
Oh,
But
shit,
again, but not
okay,
being able to
sorry.
use your
Yeah.
ability until the last,
Yeah,
10% of the game
Right.
or whatever.
Which is what I did because I forgot it was asymmetric.
But that
Yeah.
was completely by accident.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was,
Okay,
yeah.
cool.
We random
Yeah,
dealt.
I feel like the asymmetricness of the game is underwhelming. That's that I'll.
Chris.
I
Did
like
Jamie mean
this thing.
asymmetrical sarcastically?
Maybe. Yeah.
Maybe.
I think Jamie is enamored with asymmetrical powers, but doesn't want to like go too far with it.
Yeah, I just
Okay,
want to
so
ruin
yeah.
Well, I
the
mean, think about it. He went
Tapestry.
He went far
and
with
it took
tapestry
months of
and
like
maybe-
Now he's reeling back.
redos. and
years.
Now-
We've been like
Now he's
rebalancing tapestry.
pulling back.
The DLCs on that one to fix it was insane.
That was my
That
end.
was your all right. So I don't have a no. It was funny. Is I enjoyed the game. I don't have like a tremendous amount of negatives, right? But I'm not like this was the greatest game I ever played, right? It's like I like the game, but I don't. It was like okay. It was definitely better than a lot of the reviews I've seen. And actually, on the way over here tonight, I told you guys I was listening to a couple of podcasts on the drive over where they were just kind of
Trashing it?
trashing
Oh,
it
really?
a bit, yeah. So, oh,
Oh, got a caller. You must have turned the phone on.
No, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
okay. So I might do the negative I have I think is
They called it a hand.
the hand is, well I tell you what I was confused. Well no, so you have on the left hand side of the cards you can play, right? And then when you play them out, you put workers on them, but you can't reactivate all their abilities, so they're really kind of a discard pile. But you're supposed to lay them out in order. I was generally often in my first play confused with that. I think if I play it a second, third time, I'll get it. But I turned to you a couple times in the game. I'm like, I don't understand this. I have this cards out and they got guys on it, but I can't reactivate them.
It really
Hear
doesn't
that.
matter except for a handful of cards in the
handful of
game.
cards in the
You know,
game,
maybe less
yeah.
than
That
10%
refer
will
to a
reference,
previous or
the
whatever.
previous
Play a
card you played or
previously.
whatever.
So I think
yeah.
I think that I got so focused on as you build an engine, often you have an engine of cards out, and then you can play those cards and you reactivate all of the cards. But that's not really what happens here. It's very rare that you reactivate cards unless you plan it out really well to do that. So I think my negative there is the whole hand, right, and cards you can play versus cards that have been played. It doesn't really matter very often.
Right.
So like having this set up,
It could just be a discard pile.
it could just be a
Yeah.
discard pile because then like if it's all stacked up, then you could just look at the card underneath it. If you actually have that 1 in 10 chance that you have a card that activates card prior.
The previous
So-
card played is right there on
yeah,
top
I think
anyway.
there's-
So,
yeah, exactly. It's just
Mm.
previous cards play there. So there's this sprawl of game space that's somewhat unnecessary.
Table hog.
Table hog, yeah, that's unnecessary. Yeah.
I hadn't thought about it at all until tonight, until we just started having this conversation with the negatives, and based off of what Nick and some people talked about before was the open objectives, having it all out there. We've only played, these two guys have played once. Nick's played twice. I've played 3.5 times. And having those objectives be exactly the same, because we didn't specify that, but the objectives, you're not drawing objective cards out of a deck, and that those are your public objectives. A lot of games do that. You'll have a stack of 30, and then you'll play 4 or 5 of them, and it'll change from game to game. You have the same exact objectives every
Just like
time.
Side.
Right, until they
just
come
like
out with an
Side.
expansion. But yeah,
And are you going where I think that some of those objectives are more important than others?
for sure. I mean, that's part of it. I was going to
Yeah,
say, but
okay, okay.
after 20 plays, do you really kind of learn which ones are the ones to go for, which ones benefit you the most, which ones are the most efficient, which ones are the ones that I'm going to come into every game kind of with generally the same plan.
So, I mean, do anybody here think that there's a consistent, solid winning strategy of not getting 4 quests or 3 quests to max out?
But that's the
multiplier?
same thing inside.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
not getting the multipliers for your stars, you're not winning.
Right.
Right.
You're doing the game wrong.
So then make that a mandatory one or something.
But I guess you can learn that.
Yeah.
Right.
I
So instead of
guess.
telling you this is
That's a
mandatory,
negative for me though. Is like you have 7 objectives, but clearly there are 2 or 3 that are more
Well,
important.
see,
you have to
when we teach Mitch how to play, because he said in the podcast, I don't like people telling me strategy while teaching me the game. We'll make sure not to tell them that you have to do this to win.
Right.
Yeah.
If you don't
Now,
get your quest, you're not going to win.
It's worth noting, I guess, it also is comparative to what other people are doing. If not a lot of quest cards come out,
Yeah.
and no one's got 4 quests, well, then maybe 2 is enough, right?
Yeah,
and you can
maybe.
race that 4th star
Right.
and trigger the end of the game, and we all only have 2 quests. So,
Yeah.
you know, it's,
Yeah, until we play more times, it'd be hard to know. Like I
But
said, we only played a couple. But
I would say, to restate your negative, the replay, I think, might be low. Because
Yeah.
it's the same 18 tiles right now.
Yeah.
It's the same 6 south, 6 central, and 6 north.
right,
So at some point, you're going to just kind of
slightly different layouts. They
pseudo-memorize
go different
those,
places, but
Right.
yeah.
But they're all within reach of
It's
each
ripe
other.
for expansion. So
It
Wayne,
is.
you
Yeah.
called it out, and it stands out for me now.
Yeah, for
we
sure.
we explored the crater of this game. Next game, let's go explore the ocean.
Yeah.
And
what
next
happened in
game,
the-
let's go
yeah.
see the factory.
Yeah.
Right? I can see so many different scenarios built in with that progression, that expedition, trademarked expedition like mindset.
Yeah.
My negative was right there with Nick on the hands thing. The idea, Wayne, you touched on it. 2019 was it, Robert? When we bought this table, when I bought this table, 2018, 2019.
Sounds
Dice
right.
Tower.
Sounds
on
right.
then.
Yeah, that's about right.
And this table fit like the majority of games. Like the majority of games that I had, that I
Yeah.
played, that were coming out. This table's great.
times have changed.
Oh, damn, they've changed.
Like every other game, it's like I don't know if it's gonna fit on the topper.
Right. Like now, this 6 foot by 3 foot table is just not enough.
It's the 6 that's okay. It's the 3 foot.
3,
You have to
yeah.
almost have
Yes.
4 across now.
So, why? But, and I guess that's the theme. When I write my written version of my review of this game, the title's going to be, But Why Though? But why though? Why sprawling? Why can't I hold my cards in my hand?
and
Right.
Why can't I discard them to a discard pile? Why make me splay them out to take up more room?
those hex tiles and your giant mechs. Now, I could understand the size of the hex tiles if multiple people could be on the same hex tile.
Yeah,
That's a good call.
that's been a thing.
Yeah.
Most of us can't. It's 1 mech per hex.
I figured it
square.
out when I set up.
So
I figured it out
shrink
when I set up.
Shrink everything by 25%.
We can't because the cards have to fit between the hexes.
Well, maybe, yeah, I guess that's it. But so I'll go back to
Shrink the card size.
one of my favorite games of all time, Clans of Caledonia. And the Kickstarter there, the guy literally said, instead of having this, I could make this giant sprawling game, but you know what? I'm going to make this giant sprawling game and then reduce everything's size by like 25%. And then it's going to be cheaper to produce, cheaper to make, and
It'll fit on more
and it'll
people's
fit on more
tables.
people's
Fit in your
tables.
pocket. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a tiny epic thing. But yeah, no, but I think
Bunny Kingdoms.
almost-
Look at that Bunny
that's a
Kingdom
big-
the board.
that's still not as big as Expeditions.
Oh,
Right,
no,
it's
yeah.
not as big as Expeditions, but look at all the spaces. Look at all the places you can go. Right,
Yeah.
Expeditions, we got like 20 places we're
Yeah,
going.
It was big.
So
And Firefly with all the expansions is a
true metric. Yep.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
I have Firefly with all the expansions, but 8 of the 10 expansions.
Oh my God.
He's in line with all the other productions in gaming today, which is bigger is better. If I give you more epic bigness, but I'm running out of table space. Like it's we got to bring it back down to scale.
Yeah, I like the chunky hexes. I thought they were cool, but I do agree that they're completely don't need to be that big. Good call on the cards. Could be smaller, right? The holding the hand in your hand could just be what I do from now on because they call it a hand. Like, screw you, I'm going to hold it in my hand.
You can't show off that beautiful artwork though if it's not out there on the table.
Sweaty
Come on.
out there,
Yeah.
Jacob made it like a requirement.
But just think about it. If you reduce the size of the mechs, the cards, not even the cards. Okay, make your hex board and then just have card spaces like on the hexes, so that when that's a card space, right? And you have your deck of cards. Is the game $20 cheaper?
Right, because at $80, $100,
110,
That's a meaty game.
80, 110 bucks. If it's 60 and you just do normal size hexes,
Right.
Are we going to rush through summary? We got to open those phone lines.
We will open up the phone
Yeah.
line soon. Any more negatives? Right? Anyone want to beat it up anymore?
No.
We don't. I don't think we beat it up.
No.
I don't think.
I
A
love
lot of the negatives were nitpicky.
All right.
Yeah.
We'll go round the horn. We'll start with the owner of the game, and
Yes.
then we'll go left of him.
Sure.
Mr. Oben, in summary, here on Beans and Dice, we do buy, try, or deny, and then we kind of explain a little bit why we felt that way
Sure. So for me, this is a clear try
from the guy who bought it.
from the guy who bought it. That's right.
Yeah.
And if I was going to buy it again, I wouldn't buy the Ironclad. I'll say that. It even at $80, it's at the top of its price range for the game. Now that being said, I like the game a lot. This is just where I am in my collection space, right? I own 300 games. That's plenty, and I don't need to be out there spending $80 on another game that is probably in the top 20 for me, but not top 5. So I liked it. I liked it a lot. I only played it twice now. When I played it the first time, I loved it. It fluted right up to the close of my top 20 for 2023. But yeah, so
Nick's at $55 a play.
There you go.
yeah, that's yeah.
It'll come down.
2 trips to the movie. So for me, it's definitely a try, and I'll say this: it's a try for me in that the game mechanics, that engine building thing, isn't necessarily my wheelhouse, right? Of games that I love, right? So, if you like Scythe, Tapestry, what's the water one I mentioned earlier?
Water.
Revive?
Oh, Aquatica.
Aquatica, the kind of engine building games. This is a good one, right? And it's a little simpler than some of those as far as the complexity of all the cars and how they interact. So if that's your jam, then it's probably a buy.
Right.
But if you're just the generic gamer that likes a lot of different games with the price point, this is a try. I definitely would like to play this a few more times because I liked it. I really did it. I enjoyed it more than I thought I would, which is a good sign. Yeah.
I agree. It's try for me. I would say I like it. It's not in my top 2 or 3 Stonemaier games. There are definitely 3 or 4 games from Stonemaier that I like better, but I do like it. I mean, this is my 3rd play. I've had 2 pretty poor plays of it. I've had 1 really good play of it. So I'm kind of wondering a little bit about that. If you hit the right strategy, you hit the right combination of cards,
Yeah,
you can really.
I was surprised you didn't
Yeah.
play better.
My second play was really good. My first play was horrible. We played at Dice Tower. It was 2 a.m.
At like
when
11,
we finished.
Yeah, we started at 11 p.m. or something.
So about halfway through that one, I had kind of given up on it, but I was just like, let's just finish this thing. But my second play with Jim went really well. I think I finished second to Jim in that play. It was a 4-player game.
That's a strong finish.
Yeah, and things
against Jim.
just kind of, I was right behind him. I think it was close, and things just kind of came together. The right things happened. I was able to attach a bunch of stuff, build up my mech. It was really powerful. This one, I think I spent a little too much time waiting for you guys to get off of spaces. I kept complaining that everybody was where I wanted to be, and I probably could have done more efficient stuff, and I just kind of waited for y'all to get off of where I needed to be.
And I think that might be a good difference between like 2, 3, and 4-player games.
Yeah.
Is there were a lot more of the this is very much a single-player solitaire solo
Yeah,
kind
for
of
sure.
game.
Yeah.
Except when people are on your squares, and there were a lot of times this game where we all complained about, God, you
Yeah.
just moved the
Get
square
off
I
my
want to go to.
Get off my spot.
Now I got to wait a whole nother turn for you to move. So I think
Yeah. So that's it. I mean, there's not much player interactions. That's a good point that you brought up. So everybody needs to know in considering this game, it is quite a bit of multiplayer solitaire. You are kind of focusing on what you're doing 90% of the time. Every now and then you'll look up and somebody will be where you need to be, and you've got to shift and come up with an alternate strategy for that round or maybe 2 rounds. But for me, I like it. It's a good game. It's one I'll play pretty much anytime it comes out, but I would definitely recommend try before jumping into it.
And I'm there. Right now we have 3 tries.
Yeah.
I'm going to add
I got
that.
4.
Writing it down. I'm
Unanimous.
adding that 4th try.
All right.
I think the feeling, the quote that I'll use, the refrain that I'll use is,
I call it.
but why though? I already
But
brought that
why?
one
Yeah,
up,
okay.
right?
All right.
But is the juice worth the squeeze?
Yeah.
And Nick, we talked about some of the combo-rific moments we had. Wayne, you talked about the work. You enjoyed the brain work it took to make that happen. But when I think about all the games I love and play, is the juice worth the squeeze? Do I get enough reward for making that one combo happen in that game of Expeditions? and for me, it's not. Like, it's not there yet.
I'm going to step on your moment just a little bit, too, because you mentioning that just kind of makes me think. When you had that great turn, I think Nick was the only one at the table that was there with you, because I believe Wayne and I, both of our heads were down, looking at what we were going to do next, trying to figure it out, and Nick was over there, oh, Carlos, that was a great turn. I looked up, I was like, oh, was it? Oh, did you do something good over there?
Carlos had a good
Well,
turn.
but to defend Nick in that is, Carlos did say, unless you're going to the place the star square, you
witness
can't
me.
do a witness me moment.
Yeah.
So if there was no witness me moment, I'm not paying attention.
Which,
Yeah,
which,
exactly.
by the way, I think helped me a lot, and I may adopt that now for all of my games.
Don't say
like, I'm not going to be able to do witness me unless I'm scoring.
Unless you're taking a boast,
Unless you're really doing
the
boast
boast
action.
action.
So for folks, there's literally an action in the game called boast,
Yeah.
and that's when you claim one of those victory conditions. It's like
Unlike
perfect
Scythe, where
witness
you
me.
immediately get the star for ringing the bell,
Right.
which I did like in this game.
Yeah.
You have to go then, if you can get like your 3 quests or your 4 meteorites, right? And you got to go ring that bell. You have to literally go find a space with a boast icon, and then go actually at that moment
Do the
stand
boast.
up and
Yeah.
say, "Witness me."
Right.
And then at the end of the game, there was a stressful moment where I had the ability to boast, and I was just praying. I had 3 turns. All 3 of you went before me. And I'm like, God, don't all go on this boast
The same
spots.
spots. Cover all those spots.
I can move 4 spaces. I can get to almost any boast spot. And I know that and you didn't. There was one open. I got it. So like there's some tension there too. So.
Nice.
And the reason finally in summary, the reason I give it the try is that the I feel like the work I had to put in to get some combo points out of it.
Yeah.
I have other games where I can get that more the reward with that effort, right? So the more the good feels, more of that dopamine hit with that same effort. Where here, I don't feel like I got that dopamine hit enough, and it may require more play. So it's unanimous here at the Beans and Dice Studio B table because we are late to open the phones. We're going to end it here.
Yep.
We are saying 4 out of 4. It's a try.
Try the game.
Yep. Try it. Yep.
All right. So what we do every Thursday night is we open up the phone lines and we talk to you about what you've been up to. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. Y'all can tell us why we're wrong. Why are we wrong?
Also, take a moment real quick.
Let's talk.
Wayne has already consumed all of his Sagamore
I have,
Double Oak Rye, but by request from Wayne, when he found out I was going back up to Maryland, where I'm from.
The reason we had Nick over tonight, but go ahead.
Yeah.
It wasn't expeditions.
it was this.
It was the old fashions that he made for us.
Cheers, to
I have
good
to pour
times.
more.
Oh, yeah, have to pour more. We got this lovely Double Oak Sagamore Spirits Rye.
Look at that. He made us some old fashions to enjoy, and I'm loving this.
Yeah,
Good stuff.
Yeah. Over here, Sagamore Spirits Rye. I love the bottle. It's so super cool.
Oh, show him the bottle.
Yeah, it's kind of this like triangular.
Oh, I know that number. We're just going to go ahead and answer this call.
I don't know who that is.
Beans and Dice podcast. Ron Frazier, how you doing, my man?
I'm good.
Hey, Ron.
Hey, you guys know I was waiting.
Yeah.
For you guys
Oh,
to
yeah. I was kind of punching Carlos over here like, we got to go. We got to get those phones open.
only-
Ron needs to call.
Only 9:45. You know.
Yeah, a little late.
That was a long Beans.
It
it
happens
was,
when we
yeah.
do beans and
We
dice.
got 4
But the-
people.
hey,
It's
4
long.
people.
This
Yeah.
game earned it. It's Jamie.
Four-
It's
four
a
people.
highlighted game.
It's 4 people, and it's a high profile game.
Oh, yeah.
So like,
Are there
As a
any
matter of
beans,
fact-
Ron, that you want to giveth today to our beans at home?
no, not tonight. Never played Expeditions.
All right.
Well, thanks for the call.
No, he's never played Expedition, so he doesn't have anything to add to that
No,
conversation.
I don't mean on expeditions.
Oh,
Like
okay.
anything you got going
Oh,
on.
Nah.
You can give it. The show is yours.
There is-
10 minutes. The show is yours.
There's nothing that I've played that like I want to give it the bees on.
Okay.
Okay.
What you got going on?
However, I wanted to talk about the tagline of the show. What's the tagline of the show?
How we game.
Exactly. So last weekend, instead of going to Dragon Con, which is right down the road from me,
You missed a good
Um,
time, Ron.
You missed him.
did
I
I
did.
though? Did I though?
Yeah.
Because I spent the weekend with some friends
That's true. Then you
playing
did.
board games
Then you did.
and having fellowship. And so, like, this is one of those things where it was more about not the games that were played, but the people who play them. Because I played a lot of games that a lot of which I would not have chosen to play at a normal game day or at a convention or what have you. But I had a blast, and my girls were there for a good portion of the weekend, and they had a blast. Wife was there.
Nice.
It was just a fun time. So a couple of highlights for me personally. I love it when people love the games that I bring, because this is a kind of a crowd that's a more casual crowd that's into playing like Uno and Phase 10, a variety of card games, and the hosts actually are they're more board gamey, but they're even more on the more casual side. But like two of the hits were Unmatched. That brought my whole Unmatched collection with me in my new storage solution, but I had to carry the T-Rex in the 4-player box.
Yeah.
You're
So that
not
was
bitter.
That thing.
You're not bitter.
Speaking of board games and storages, solutions, and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
So that was a hit with the folks that were there, and also I taught Seven Wonders Architects 3 or 4 times.
I like Seven Wonders Architect.
Do you?
Talked about families that play Uno. Like Seven Wonders Architects is probably one of the first places I recommend going.
Yeah, I mean, because it's so easy, and on more than one occasion, there were people that played Seven Wonders Architects that said that Seven Wonders Architects saved the concept of Seven Wonders for them because they had negative experiences with Seven Wonders. I know they're different games, but like you can imagine that if you had a bad experience with Seven Wonders, you might be a bit less likely to play another game that might be related to it, right? But yeah, Seven Wonders Architects was that went over very well, and yeah, I played a bunch of other stuff. Played some print and play stuff, played some other stuff that wasn't necessarily the biggest fan of that I can remember, but I just wanted to talk about that because this weekend was one of those situations where it really hit home for me how important it is to play games with people that you care about.
No, that's great. That's great. And I think the key point there that just to jump in, Ron, real quick, the game that you're playing matters less than who you're playing with, right? That's one of your big takeaways there, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I know this. We're in September now, so my game a day was 9 months ago. But that was my big takeaway. I remember Wayne and I talked about this a lot. Is the game that you play doesn't need to be perfect, right? Like I'm looking at the wall here behind Carlos and Rob, and I would happily play literally any of those games with this group of guys at the table.
Yep.
Because the game matters way less than the people at the table.
And you taught me that too this past year of like when you go to game days and you go to cons, and how often do you all spend 10 or 15 or 20 minutes deciding what game to play? Right. And instead of wasting that 20 minutes, just grab a game and play.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Because if it's with the right group, it doesn't matter. You guys are going to have fun. And I mentioned that in my podcast, I think this week with Mitchell, where I'm like, I like playing games I know because then we can sit around and talk and joke and mess around with football teams and talk about our families and catch up.
It's where Mitchell has a conniption.
No, but even Mitchell likes that too. I think, but it's important because we're all social beings, and even the introverts in us need social interaction, and being able to sit at a game and play a game and fire certain of our brains for the gameplay, but then fire some of our emotional aspects and our emotional health by talking and hanging out with friends and family. It's important. I mean, that's great.
Yeah.
When I did, Ron, when I did the, what did they call it? The mentorship. Ant Lab Games did a mentorship.
Oh, yeah.
And one of the things that they started us off with was, by the end of this, I want your mission. Why are you doing this? Right. And I think it was like a 10-week mentorship that they did with, and it was like 12 of us from around the world. And I was selected to be one of them.
Cool.
At the end of it, when it was written, it was build community of people who can be there for each other. And that's the biggest piece of it is the ability to sit across from the table and not just talk about that one game played, but have those moments that let you realize who that person across is a person and they have family. And then next time you meet them or see them, you can ask about that family. You have those connections. So I'm glad to hear, Ron, that you're seeing that same mission statement. And maybe that's why you've been such a big part of this Beans and Dice group, even though you're all the way in Atlanta, you're connecting with that mission that we have here, which is to build community.
Yeah.
Now let's stop with the sappiness. Lift us up. Let's talk games.
Do something different.
All right. However, so I have a couple of events this month that I'm excited about. I think I told you guys I started getting back into doing the local meetup at Level Up Games, and so that's been going well. But Saturday I have a group of folks getting together to play some Marvel Champions, and I'm super excited about that because I have wanted a consistent community built around that game ever since it came out, and it finally seems like it's happening. So because we already have enough people committed that it's going to be more than one game of it going, because you don't want to play a 4-player game of Marvel Champions unless you really, really like those people. But anyway, so I'm excited about that. I'm still trying to figure out the details on this event on September 23rd up here at another game store around, the day after Bilbo and Frodo's birthday, my Tolkien themed game day.
Lord of the Rings, the card game.
A bunch of stuff. It's whatever. Lord of the Rings, the card game, Journeys of Middle Earth, whatever you can, War of the Ring, whatever. The strategy, the miniatures game, the co-op game, the adventure book, whatever that is.
We got a
Lord
comment in the
Rings,
chat
Tolkien.
for you, Ron. Chris Federspiel says, "Yeah, MC, my man, Marvel Champions." And he says he'll bring his Spider Ham justice. This game brings out the fans of Marvel Champions.
Yeah.
When they hear it, we see the comments in the chats.
Yeah, it's such a great game, and I know folks that love it because they're big into Marvel, and I know folks that love it just because of the gameplay. That they couldn't care less about the Marvel characters, but it's streamlined, especially compared to Lord of the Rings and Arkham Horror, which still.
Wait. You said it's streamlined compared to those?
Compared to Arkham, oh yeah, for sure.
That's the normal comparison, though. I know Marvel Champions and Arkham Horror are like the
I don't think I
co-op
gained
deck builder.
I don't think I gained that insight. I've seen Marvel Champions, and I've picked it up in my hands and put it back down because all I think of are the Lord of the Rings, the card game. I think of my games of Ark Nova. Or not Arkham Horror, the LCG, and I'm like, it's a step too far.
Champions.
Champions is even more streamlined.
You're not worried about locations. You're not worried about moving around from place to place. You're just facing bad guys. Bad guys are popping up. You're beating them. You're knocking them down. You're facing the next one. So
all right. So I am gonna have to get this to the table, Ron.
Yeah.
I'll find a way to get to the table and I'll report back.
Yeah. You are absolutely sure. I'm sure there's plenty of people down there that's willing to give you the opportunity to do so based on the YouTube chat.
Yeah, I could probably teach it now that Ron taught me at Dice Tower East this year. Thanks, Ron.
Well, I might pick up a copy then. I've been
You're
staying
welcome.
away from it because I remember having access to both. I owned the Lord of the Rings cards games at one point. I got rid of it because it was cool, but I just wasn't going to play it with anyone but maybe Rob.
Yeah.
Right? Like that level of complexity. I wasn't going to be able to play with the kids.
Nobody wants to do
with my
that.
wife.
Yeah.
And it's just Rob.
Just Rob.
It's just Rob. But now that I know that it's streamlined enough, is it streamlined enough like older kids?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's basically just a punch you in the face. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. I mean, you've got some keywords, you've got some combos and stuff that you can, if you want to get a little deeper into it. But if you just want to play beat down the bad guy, I mean, that's what it is.
And fully co-op. So like, if someone like Chris is in the chat there, if he can to play with you, can help you out.
Yeah, TGC. TGG. Oh, TGG. I read the T wrong, but
Tampa Gaming Group.
Tampa.
Yeah,
Gaming
I was
Guild.
trying to figure out what TCG was, but but
TGG, Tampa Gaming Guild.
Tampa Gaming Guild.
Collection.
There you go.
Look how he said that. And let me put that up there, folks.
Collection. Yeah, my
He didn't
collection.
say, I'll bring my copy of the game.
Or my
No.
deck.
Chris said, I will bring my collection.
I mean, this is a guy talking about Spider Ham Justice.
That's what you get.
That is a particular build.
That's what you
that
get
he's
with this
referring
game.
to.
Yeah, that's what you get with this game.
Again, the fans come out.
Yeah.
They come out.
My buddy Craig up in Maryland, he's got a whole. They have a Discord channel, kind of like the Beans and Dice Discord. Join if you haven't. Yep, Bowser. And they've got a whole Marvel Champions section talking about different builds.
That's
different
lifestyle
I
characters.
gotta get into some of those, man. Like Nick gave me a whole setup for the Arkham,
Yeah.
and I keep trying to get my wife to play it. I haven't played it yet because my
Let's
wife's
do
like, I'm like, I gotta play it.
Arkham's definitely a step up,
I
but
know, but I
yeah.
love that. I love that game. Like,
Arkham's
like,
so good.
Like just the cooperative, like deck, like the story.
I like card games. I like
yeah.
holding cards. Jamie Stegmeyer, let me say this out loud. You know, let me put on my camera.
Where do you hold?
Let me put on my
Get on that
camera.
soapbox.
Where do you
And-
hold?
and we're
your
gonna go
card?
there.
Where do you hold a hand of cards?
On the table, of course.
Hey, Jamie, when we have a card game and you call it a hand, I like to hold it in my hand. I love you, bro, with all my heart, but I really want to hold my cards in my hand.
Yeah.
It's a thing.
Yeah.
All right, back to the show. Ron, close this out on your call. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for having me on the call. And this is the call-in show. I know we started a little bit late tonight,
Yeah.
but
Promote
call
your
in.
stuff,
Especially-
Ron. Where can people find
Especially
you?
Chris. So you can find me on Instagram at Ron Talks Tabletop and Twitter at Ron Talks TV Top. I guess it's X now. You can catch me on the Dice Tower every now and then, talking about board games that are $35 MSRP or less.
Ooh, inflation.
Inflation.
Next year will be $45 or less.
If we're lucky.
I pray.
Nice to hear from you, Ron.
All right,
As
guys.
always, thanks for calling in. Thanks for kicking off the calls tonight.
Yeah, man.
See you, man.
No
Have a good night.
problem. Take care.
I know I like telling people when you call in, you get 10 minutes, and it's like, but Ron shows up, and it's like, I just want to keep
I
talking to
had some
Ron.
comments on
Miss-
that on the podcast.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah,
I
missed.
I feel bad.
Yeah, Nick and Ron always get more than 10 minutes.
I was I don't have to call in this week. It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's here.
There's just
I
a few
was-
people that,
I missed.
the calls just keep going.
Hopefully I'll see Ron next year again at Dragon Con. Well, I'll see Ron hopefully before then, but
Meanwhile, the nice thing about not starting call-ins until 9:45, after one call, we've already arrived at 10 o'clock.
10 o'clock.
Oh,
So
there
we're
you go.
after hours.
The
After dark.
The next caller, just know that you're here.
There it is.
Oh, there we go. Who we got?
You know what? Let's just answer.
Just
Beans and
blind
Dice
answer.
Podcast. State your
Dangerous.
name and where you're calling from.
After hours.
Hey, this is William from the Nerdy Web.
Oh, there you
Hey,
go.
William, how are you?
I thought I blocked his number.
I know. There's someone I saw at Dragon Con.
William, I
now.
said, William was at Dragon Con. Did y'all meet up?
Oh yeah, we did.
Oh,
yeah,
did you really?
Yeah, yeah,
Nice.
yeah. We
Yeah, we met up at Cruise Shadow.
yeah. So there's a band called Crew Shadows, which is they're really cool, and they're like a Dragon Con staple. They've been there for like 25 years. Their music is
So
awesome.
they're like that kind of cool.
yeah. Well, no, just
Nerdy cool?
like they're nerdy cool, but they're like it's like a Hasselhoff thing. Like they're huge in Germany right
Oh,
now.
all right.
No, but
Hasselhoff.
like, I actually really like their music.
Did
What's
you
funny
just
is-
snort? Just anyway. Carlos is snorting over there, just so we know.
But no, so I've been to Dragon Con for 23 years, and I've only actually started going to like the last 4 or 5 years because I used to make fun of like all the Crew Shadows people. Sure. But like I really
you
like.
do.
Oh my god, this music's actually really good. I kind of like it. And so my wife and William and Keena and we all went. It's like 1:40 in the morning on a Sunday night. It's like the last night of the con at 1 in the morning, and you go to this concert, and it's like just 5,000 people in the hall. But anyway, sorry, William, go ahead.
William, you called.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, it was awesome hanging out with you for that little bit of time. We didn't get to see each other much at the con. Been passing a couple times before that.
Wayne
But
is
it was
fabulous
always-
in
it was
small
always
increments.
great to see
But anyway, go ahead.
I'll agree with that. I didn't beat Ron in this week. He was pitching on the phone.
It's a thing.
He was probably trying to call in from 9:20.
Yeah, you want to beat the phone switch. Yeah.
As far as games at Dragon Con, I ran Blood on the Clock Tower for a bunch of hours.
Oh.
Friday night, everybody was trying to get me to run it the rest of the weekend. I was like, I'm a Dragon Con guy.
You're
You
getting a
know,
reputation for that.
play
It seems
three
like
games.
everywhere you go, you're hosting games of Blood on the Clock Tower.
Yeah.
Do you put out a tip jar, like
a lot of work.
you know, a Patreon
You
or
should.
Well,
buymeacupofcoffee.com?
No, well, I should, but what I charge people when I run Blood on the Clock Tower for them is I charge them a subscription. Subscribe
Okay.
to our channel. That's all I need.
There you go.
And
You know
we had a
what?
really big
I
Dragon Con weekend for the channel.
We need
I
to do
can
that.
whore out Rob for some subscriptions.
Yeah. I'm willing to go play games. Well, you're talking about playing games,
Games,
right?
yes,
Oh,
games.
okay, yes, of course. Yeah, okay.
Rob will teach you a game. You just have to subscribe.
There you go.
Good idea, William. All right, walk us through your Dragon
Hey, it
Con.
works.
I don't know if that's what you wanted to call about, but that's what I wanted to hear about. I was watching your
Yeah,
videos.
I'll talk.
You and Kino were posting up some videos from Dragon Con, so I saw you had put those up. Share some of the highlights. Maybe give it the beans on Dragon Con.
The beans on Dragon Con. So the basics of Dragon Con is, like I said in our live
My
stream,
man!
He's got it. Yeah.
So Dragon Con really is what you want it to be. There is so much to do at Dragon Con that it's the type of convention you want it to be. It can be a board game convention the entire weekend, 24 hours of board gaming, just like Dice Tower or any of the other good board game conventions. They've got a okay library of games, bigger than some I've been to, a lot smaller than Dice Tower, obviously. Huge amount of gaming space for not only board games, but also any type of tabletop gaming, Warhammer, BattleTech, whatever you want to do, but also an entire floor dedicated to nothing but role-playing game tables, a bunch of tables for people to set up playing Pathfinder, Dungeons & Dragons, Shadowrun, you name it, people up there playing it all weekend long. And then they have a dedicated space for things like Werewolf and LARPing, and just as far as gaming, full gambit. And that's not even including all the computer games, console gaming, and arcade they have set up there. So just in the gaming alone, you can spend an entire weekend in the gaming hall treating it like it's a gaming convention. Then there's
Tell me
the
about your
million other
experience. So how
activities you could
did
do.
you experience it? Like, what were some of your highlights and lowlights?
Some of my highlights is I actually got to go to the vendor hall this year. It's been a couple of years since I've actually stepped foot in the vendor's hall.
Really?
Yeah,
That hall
apparently
was. Robert took me up there in 2018.
Oh, and it's 3 times bigger than when you were there.
It's huge.
Oh, yeah.
4 stories now.
yeah. It's 4 stories of vendor space.
wow.
And apparently I guess they had some issues there and the fire marshal got involved, so the crowds were a lot lower.
Oh.
But that meant the lines getting in were a lot bigger.
See, I
But if you can get in, once you got in, you could actually shop and do things.
yeah. Other than Saturday, I'll say though, William. Like, so I waited in line on Friday and again on Sunday, and the line was crazy. The line would go 4 city blocks long. That's how. So you were, but it was 15-minute wait because the line. As soon as you walk to the end of the line, you
Move
then
fast.
just walk to the front. It was like quick. So everyone complained that the line was so long, but no one realized the line moved really quick to get in. And then once you're in, it was like
From the outside,
it looked crazy.
the line's like, holy crap, I'm not getting in that.
But you did. It was
yeah,
so
the
easy.
lines
Once
went
you're in the
really
line,
fast.
it went quick. Yeah.
Yeah, because you got people constantly coming out at the same time, you know. So it's an in and out kind of thing. You're going in, you're going to do a little bit of shopping for a few hours, and you're going to leave. And that's what everybody's doing. It's not something where people are going in and spending the entire day. Now, I'm sure there are people that go to the vendor hall and spend the entire day in there because you really could.
Oh, you could.
It would take you about that long to actually explore the entire vendor's hall and actually see every booth in there. There's some really decent board game vendors in there, too.
Yeah, there were some good ones. Yeah.
Yeah, I know Robert and I volunteered the year that he took me up there. That's how we got our passes. So we got to skip the lines because we got the vendor badge. But I don't think we spent
Yeah.
much time outside the vendor hall.
Like I say, I've done it twice.
Like
and
90% of our time was spent in the vendor
yeah,
hall.
we either the year you went, we were selling games basically
Yep.
for Cool Stuff.
Cool Stuff Inc. Yep.
Cool Stuff Inc. And then the other year I went, I was demoing for Quick Simple Fun Games.
Patrick Habert,
Patrick Habert. So yeah, I spent all.
friend of the show.
So yeah, I've been to Dragon Con twice, and for anybody who doesn't know, Dragon Con in Atlanta, Georgia. So big venue, lots of hotels
September.
that are connected by
Labor Day weekend.
by all these flyways and these
Yeah,
air
sky
bridges,
bridges.
sky
Yeah, it's
bridges.
awesome.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
really cool that the way they have it laid out. There's like 4 blocks of just con stuff you can go hunt at.
And what's cool is the year before COVID hit, Dragon Con had its peak attendance. It was like 90 something thousand, it was like 94,000 people. And like on Saturday, like William could attest because he was probably there same time as me. It took like an hour to walk between all the hotels because it was just so massive. During COVID,
yeah.
obviously, a lot less numbers. This year, they actually capped attendance at 75,000.
Yeah.
And they said that they're not going over that again. It's 75,000.
But that makes sense. Like
I'm-
Disney won't cap. Disney will take your money until the place is uncomfortable and everybody have to wait in line forever. The idea that you're capping it to make
Yeah.
the experience of the
Yeah,
guests
and
better.
Saturday, you could walk around. It was busy, but you could get between, like, all the hotels are connected. There's like 8 hotels, 6, 7 hotels are all connected by sky bridges. And I stay in the Hilton. William and I both stay in the Hilton. And to get to the farthest hotel, pre-COVID, it was like an hour. It was insane.
Wow.
But now, like, even during the peak of Saturday, it took me a half hour to walk between all the hotels. So it was good.
Did you feel it, Wayne?
Yeah.
Wayne. Did you,
William.
William? Did you feel the difference from pre-COVID massive crowds to the capping of 75,000?
Oh yeah, yeah. The best year in the last 5 years was the post-COVID show, the last year's show, I think it was, where 2021 was skipped because I think it was 2021 or 2020 that was skipped because of COVID. I can't remember right now. Keena. But that was the best one. This one was great too because you could feel that the crowd was capped. Now, Hilton had a huge major issue with their elevators this year, and we had lines going all the way back through the lobby just to get on the elevator to go up
Maintenance
to your
issues.
room.
Like the elevators were breaking
Yeah,
down.
big time maintenance issues.
Really?
People
Ouch.
packing the elevators so full that the elevators were getting
Right,
stuck
Yeah.
between
So
floors.
if you have
Jumping on the
the Hilton Hotel in Atlanta is like 30 floors, right? So 30 floors.
Is that the one with like the
29, I
really
think, 28 or
open
29.
space
that's,
on the
that's
inside?
the Hyatt that all the Marvel movies are stood.
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the Hyatt's where all the Marvel movies are shot. But I mean, even then, that's like in
Marriott.
Marriott. Sorry, Marriott.
Marriott.
The Hilton. I mean, you talk about everyone's doing like normal rooms feet 2-4 people, but in Dragon Con people are doing like 6, 7, 8 people in a room.
15.
So a hotel that normally has like 10,000 people, it has like 18,000, and so the elevators got overwhelmed, and it was clear probably they didn't get the
when you average out the weight of normal people, and you average out the weight of gamers.
A little different.
yeah.
Put all of our fat asses on there. Yeah.
Those elevators are hauling a lot of ass.
No, but yeah, they always have some.
No.
There's always one issue a year that's like that kind of drives people crazy. But when you have that many people, there's always going to be something.
Yeah, I need to get back there as
Yeah,
as a fan because I just throw this in there. I was going to just mention that again. Carlos went the one year with me, and we worked. The other year that I went, I worked, and so I did not get to experience.
Listen,
fraction.
listen,
Yeah.
y'all. Listen,
Yeah.
like for reals though. Like Rob and I put in like 8+
yeah.
hour days, right?
Standing.
We got to the end of the day, and it's concrete
Oh,
floors
you
in
can
there.
Tell that story again.
And I don't think Cool Stuff even carpets their floor.
I don't think so.
No, I think it was just straight concrete. Some of the vendors will carpet their areas.
Yeah.
Robert says, tell that story. We're on our way to the car
He's gonna tell the story
to go home. Robert says, Carlos, I can't go any farther.
I gotta
We
sit
have
down.
to stop.
I have to sit down.
And there was nowhere to sit.
I just sat on the floor.
So we sat on the floor.
My knees were killing me. 8.5 hours standing up.
People are walking
Even
by
old man.
us,
Yeah.
and Rob is just laying there on the floor
I
for
wasn't
no
laying,
reason.
I was sitting. Anyway, but yeah, I just sat on the floor. I was just like, I cannot
happens.
take another step. Yeah.
We had to take a 30-40 minute break
Yeah.
for us to finish the walk to the car.
Hey, I turned 49 this year. All right. So yeah. Anyway, go ahead.
All right, wrap it up, William.
No, I was saying, as usual, my highlight of the con was the people. I have a lot of con friends, a lot of con family I've met up with there. This is our 14th year at Dragon Con.
Wow.
and there are a lot of people there that they are why we ended up going to Dragon Con and meeting them at other conventions, and then they got us into a group of great friends, and then getting to meet up with Wayne there. Disappointed not to see Ron, not to see Ron. Never disappointed not to see Rob, of course.
Oh, yeah, of course. And nobody be disappointed by that.
He's the guy sitting down in the
Yeah,
hallway.
exactly. You find guys sitting on the floor in the middle of the hallway.
You can find him. He's Hall
funny is,
America.
I was in a digital.
You'd blend in now.
Exactly.
So I was in a digital media panel about building your brand, like kind of learn, like, and they were like professional people about like marketing people from major companies talking about how you build a brand. And so I'm in the panel, and like my wife is at a photo shoot, so they do all cosplay. And so there's a Black Geeks at Dragon Con. So, and this started a couple years ago, and it was like, and get together. And so she's texting me, like, it was literally the hottest day of the con, Sunday, because it was after the hurricane. So it was all cool, except for Sunday. It was brutally hot. And she's texting me, like, your son is dying in the heat. And I'm like, and I had a fan in my thing. I'm like, well, okay, I'm going to leave the panel real quick. I'll run upstairs, give you the fan. And then I'll run back down. So I run up, I give her the fan. And as I'm running back down to the panel, I see William and Kina like taking photos, and there's like 1,000 people on this back stand all taking photos. And I'm like, hey, oh my God, I've been trying to see you guys all weekend. I'm so sorry. I'm in the middle of this panel on building a digital media brand. I need to get back down to it. But my wife and kid are over there amongst 500 or 1,000 other people for photos.
Go find them.
No. I said no. I said go find no. I was like go look for the wife and kid who are dressed like Newsies from the
That was
movie
so good.
Newsies.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And I'm like, and that's my wife and my kid. And they're like, I'm like, okay, we'll go do that. And then like my wife, like 5 minutes later, like, hey, I just met William and Kina. They're awesome people.
Cool.
Thank you for sending them over to us. They were like, oh, so happy to like distracted us for a bit from the heat and stuff. So
Dude, this makes me feel so good.
that's what like
She
the Dragon Con
was
experience is.
so
Go ahead.
she was so freaked out when I walked up to her.
Dude, you're like
the look on her
6'5". How
face-
tall are you?
Oh, yeah.
because 6'4", but
I was
she had
close.
texted her to let her know that we were coming,
Yeah.
but she didn't see the text before we got there.
Right. Yeah.
Some
I
random
walked up, I'm like,
6'4"
"Hey, are you like-"
dude like
Yeah.
taps her on the shoulder.
Yeah.
Nah, but she was cool. She
I
texted
know your
afterwards, like, I
husband.
saw this. This is
Well,
great
this
stuff.
all just
Hey,
confirms, Carlos.
Are you Wayne's wife?
We got to do Dragon Con with Wayne one year. We got to
Yeah,
go do
yeah,
it right,
yeah.
not work. We got to go and
Oh.
actually have fun, play. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm,
Come
I'm-
on.
listen,
come on.
I'm
One
like
of us.
I'm like almost like proud tears here. The idea that Beans and Dice was able to connect folks from across,
Yeah.
having gone to 15 years to Dragon Con, 22 years to Dragon Con, have never met before.
Play the sappy music. Come on. Here we go. Yeah.
I love it.
you got a button for that? No,
No, I'm good.
Oh, okay. All right. Anyway.
Get like the Hulk theme, right?
There you go.
Where's the Hulk theme?
The more
Where he's
you
walking
know.
in the street. Afterwards, like, this is sad.
The more you know.
This is pretty cool. This
Yeah.
is pretty cool.
Well, the wives seemed to hit it off. I told Wayne, I think my wife stole your wife there at the concert, and
Yeah, they were chatting
You
the
know,
whole concert.
we had a great
long, so
time.
it was
No,
good.
and the cosplay element is not something that we get
Oh,
into
it's
a huge
hard.
at the
It's one of
beginning,
the
but
it's one of the top 5 cosplay places in the whole
I have
world.
never been
Yeah.
to Dragon Con, but I would definitely show up with a different outfit.
Oh, every
I was
day.
going to
every
ask
day.
William, did you cosplay at all? Did you dress up at all?
I didn't. I had a lot of stuff going on pre-con, but I do have a bunch of cosplays that are waiting to be redone and finished.
Okay.
I want to bring my Vader back next year.
oh,
I
that's
got a Predator that
6'4".
I'm working
6'4"
on.
That's pretty good Vader.
That's
Should I
impressive.
do a
Yeah.
Chewbacca too. I mean,
Yeah.
Almost
Chewie,
7 foot in the costume with
Chewie
the
would
boots
be
and the
good.
helmet.
Whoa, nice.
Not like Christian Hayden's in 7 foot. Like you can tell they put like big wedges on his feet.
Yeah, so my
No,
wife and
yeah.
kid did a Newsies cosplay.
That was so cool.
We had a Star Trek day where we all did Star Trek
Discoveries, the guy
universe.
from Discoveries. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
as soon as me and my wife saw that, we're like, Discoveries. We just watched the rest of that. Yeah.
I did. There's a Captain Hammer, which is a
Oh yeah.
you know,
Oh, we know
Hammer.
Captain Hammer. Yeah.
And normally my
Patrick
wife and I
Harris.
do.
Nathan
My wife
Fillion.
will do Laura Croft, and I'll do Nathan Draco. Though we didn't bring it this year, which is video game stuff. So yeah, we love the cosplay.
I'm in the middle of number 4. I just was playing it last night.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
All
do
right,
Nathan
anyway.
Drake every year. I do the
Awesome.
desert themed Nathan Drake.
Yeah.
My
nice.
fist is not the hammer.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It is huge. I like the parties at night and walk. Just
Wow.
you could walk through the hotels at night.
That's what
We were
gotta do, 'cause
done.
We were after 8 hours. We were back to the room and in bed. That was
They're
it.
like, give me my free game. I'm going home.
Exactly.
And then we went to my uncle's house. We ate and played board games there.
Play Blood Bowl. You
did
told me
that
Blood Bowl.
The first year I did Dragon Con, I've talked about this before.
After I coaxed Rob to get off the floor,
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
let's go eat.
Dragged me to the car.
2001, I got a free ticket to go to Dragon Con to work for WizKids, demoing
Okay.
HeroClix. and we demoed HeroClix for 8 hours a day
Oh,
on
gosh.
that concrete floor.
Oh, yeah.
And after 3 days of it, like not only did my feet and ankles hurt, but like the
Oh.
chafing, right, from just walking and
My
like
knees.
sweating, and it was oh my god, it was. And I said after that, I said because we did get a couple things at night, and I saw how crazy it could be and awesome. And I'm like, okay, I am coming to this every year,
Yeah.
and I am never working it again. Like
Yeah.
I'm done. Like,
Yeah.
Like I haven't even the game behind you, Wayne. Grim Forest
Oh, yeah.
was the game that I got
Yeah.
for all my effort.
and it's
You
still
got a
in
couple
shrink.
games.
And
that
it's
was
still
that
in
was,
shrink.
that was one of the games. You got a couple.
I think I got
but-
Azul, maybe
You
Azul
got 2
with
or
that
3
one.
games. Yeah. Yeah.
Like you get a couple 3 games.
They gave us like $200
and they give
worth
you the
of credit.
badge.
Yeah,
and
the
they
badge.
bought us lunch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they bought us
Right,
lunch.
bought us lunch.
And we made great relationships with the folks. They
Oh,
loved
yeah.
us. They wanted
Yeah.
us back the
Yeah.
next year.
We learned the guys from
They
Cool
even
Stuff.
offered us hotel rooms the following
Oh
year.
yeah, they want us to go to
Yeah.
Gen Con. They invited
Yeah,
us
they
to
wanted
Gen
to,
Con.
but we
Yeah.
just,
But it's hard.
after watching Rob not being able to walk to the car,
I know, yeah.
we
They-
realized we're not
Yeah.
built for this.
Like
No,
I talked
no.
to the WizKids people like the next year they wanted me to go again. I'm like, no, I'm done. And like, yeah, we know because they like literally like they have like a 10%
It burned people out.
conversion. Like people who come one year, the next year is like 10%. Yeah,
And we saw him again at Dice Tower East the
Yes,
next year.
the
Dice,
following
It was
year.
Dice Tower the following year. Like, oh, when you guys coming back out? We're like, we'll think about it. So, yeah.
William, thank you so much
No
for
doubt of
calling
it.
in.
Hey,
Watching you and Kina experience the gaming community is a joy. For all you folks at home, check them out on the Nerdy Weds on YouTube. That's probably the main channel that you choose to use, right?
oh
Or-
yeah,
or tell
that's our the Nerdy Weds.
The Nerdy Weds on YouTube.
We just had a big week. Had a big weekend. We got over 70 subscribers over Labor Day weekend. It
Oh,
was
wow.
freaking
That's
crazy.
just him teaching.
That's like our total.
blood on the clock.
Blood on
tower.
the clock
Yeah,
tower.
yeah. That's our total subscribers. Yeah.
Videos. Yeah.
Yeah, how long it would take me to run 70 people through Blood on the Clock Tower? I don't think Dragon Con has enough hours in it.
Oh, yeah.
No, but thank you guys for having me. I love talking to you. Can't wait to be on the show with you guys again.
Yes.
And
Now
see you
that,
guys
now
in
that
person
summer's
again.
over and we're starting to get a routine for
Get a
school,
D&D
let's get
game,
back to
D&D one again.
doing our at least one more RPG conversation.
That'd be
Robert
great.
just threw up in the back of his mouth.
Yeah, go ahead.
Good night, William. Bye, Keena.
Good night.
See y'all.
Yeah.
Night. Bye.
Yeah, it was nice. It was really nice. I know, I'm at the Cruise Shutters concert, and William and I are watching the concert, and after the song, in between songs, we're talking. But the entire time, even during the songs, I think Keena and my wife were just chatting the whole time.
really?
It was
That's
good.
nice.
Yeah, 1 o'clock in the morning, everyone's a little drunk, hanging out.
Well,
like, you
that's
know,
cool.
chatting and stuff. But it's a good time. Like
Some of the best conversations.
it's not like Gen Con or Dice Tower East. It is a unique con because if you think Gen Con,
Yeah.
Dice Tower East meets Comic Con,
Oh,
meets
yeah.
Mardi Gras.
It's completely different.
That's that's it's everything. You know, like
And the parade and all the stuff they do there. I mean, it's a huge parade. Yeah.
Beans and Dice Podcast. State your name. Where are you calling from?
Hey, it's Chris from Tampa Gaming Guild. How you guys doing?
hey, man, how's it going?
Hello,
Chris?
Chris. Thanks for popping into the show. We appreciate you in the chat.
Calling from Dice Tower Retreat
Hey.
Direct, huh?
Yeah, I'm hanging out in Miami doing a Dice Tower retreat.
Nice. We did the one they had in Orlando. Carlos and I went to that one, but we've talked about trying to make the trip to Orlando to Miami, because once you do one, they keep inviting you to all the future ones.
Right.
So one of these days we'll get back there. But yep.
Yeah,
you
because
always
when they
get,
did
early
ours
access
that we
tickets.
went to, Chris, it was the year that they stopped the COVID lockdowns.
Yeah.
So they did it at the Caribe Royale in Orlando, which is where Robert and I tend to go to. Because Miami is just, my grandma's down there.
Yep.
Not very far from where
Yeah.
they hold it.
Yeah.
So Robert and I have talked about it. But being in Orlando, we can bring the families. They can enjoy the hotel. So we haven't been to the one out in Miami. I'm kind of hoping maybe your call can share about the Dice Tower Retreat Miami.
Why we should go to Miami?
Yeah, like how's your experience? Where's the hotel? How's the food? All that stuff that we know how the Caribe Royale goes. All of us have been to Dice Tower East. How did they set up Dice Tower Retreat in Miami?
Well, retreat is at the DoubleTree right by the Miami airport. Here on site, there's not a whole lot of amenities. I mean, it's got a couple restaurants and stuff, but it's got, Tom's big library and, tables and stuff like that. But I mean, it's Miami. So if you come down here, there's plenty to do, plenty to eat, lots of good places, the restaurants around, stuff like that. But you're not going to get the Caribe Royale experience where you can have, friends and family come and attend and enjoy the water slide and stuff like that you would get. You can't get that here in Miami, unfortunately.
I was hoping not to hear that, right?
Yeah, it's a little different. Yeah.
I know I could. My grandma's in Pembroke Pines, which is just north of where you're at. Maybe 45 minutes north of where you're at most. So it's like we have family right nearby. So I've been thinking about it. But one of the big draws for the Cabreras is that resort style hotel.
Right.
And if it's just at the DoubleTree by the airport, not as much.
Yeah. I mean, it's much more low key. Like all the Dice Tower guys are just kind of running around playing games like everyone else. They don't do a whole lot of Dice Towery things, so to speak. But like Friday night, they have a big
Dice
key
Towery?
Dice Towery. Yeah.
Thing.
Or is that an adjective? English is not my first language.
Yeah.
It's much more informal. So, if you're really into Dice Tower and you like hanging out with Tom and, Z and Camilla and Roy and all that kind of stuff, you can really interact with them a lot more than you can at East.
Yeah.
But again, it's not the family-friendly thing that you would get in Orlando.
Right. They cap it at like, what, 200 or 300 people? I mean, it's a much smaller event.
Yes, it's much, much smaller.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like I said, it's a lot more informal.
Yeah, again, we did the one in Miami and I'm sorry, in Orlando. I keep getting the two reversed, but yeah, I mean that was really intimate, I guess is the word. I
Yeah.
mean, it was you really had opportunity. Yeah, Dick was there too.
I went, yeah.
So you really had the opportunity, if you wanted, to play games with the Dice Tower crew, to kind of see him more in a casual atmosphere, and it was a lot less people. So yeah,
It was a lot. I felt it was a lot easier to get games set up because the communication on the channel was so limited.
Yeah.
Right. It wasn't Discord. What were we using? Facebook or something?
there was tabletop events, I think, or something.
Right.
But yeah.
Somebody posted a request to play Clash of Cultures or to learn it, and I'm like, hey, I'll do that. And I had like 2 tables at one time going. It was real easy for me to get games that I wanted to play set up at Retreat.
Right. Yeah.
Compared to Dice Tower, because Dice Tower, although there's more people, that means that there's more chatter, more noise in the communication channels to be able to find that exact group that you wanted to play that exact game with. That makes sense?
Yeah. They also keep a big board right by the front entrance that everyone comes into that you can put on there. Like, I'm playing TI4 at 4 o'clock. I'm
My
going
man.
to teach.
Yeah.
And,
Wait.
have a list there. Come sign up, whatever.
What game are you playing again?
yeah,
What game was that?
Well, no, I'm just giving an example.
what game
but one
was
of the
it?
things I use it
What was the
for is
example
like
you used?
Side
He's got a
Zero
button he wants to
Confluence.
push.
What's the
Say it,
example
say
you
it.
used?
The example was TI4, but
Anyway,
I use it for Sidereal Confluence.
there you go. No.
So I think
It's so hard to get a good group for Sidereal.
Wait, Chris, you're not really starting a game of TI4 at 4 p.m., are you?
No, I'm not.
Okay, good.
Doing it right. Yeah.
All right, Chris, the show is yours.
But
So the next 10 minutes, you told me where you were, and I wanted to hear about it. But when people call in, I let you be the host for 10 minutes. So it is 10:24. The show is yours. You got 10 minutes. What you got going on?
Well, I wanted to keep with the theme of the show, and I played a few new games since I've come down on Tuesday, and wanted to get your guys' vote on which one we could do a beans for.
Oh, he wants us to do a beans.
He wants us to do beans, or he's going to do
All
beans?
right, we're going to go longer than 10 minutes because I like doing beans. What
He's
games?
going to do the beans on one of the games he's
Yeah,
playing.
because
Now
we
we're all
haven't
just-
played it. We're in the dark. Yeah.
All right, I'll give you guys a couple of options here, all right?
Okay.
Trekking Through History,
Okay.
Good.
I love
Well,
it.
we've all played
game.
it.
Good game.
Let him finish.
Okay.
Heat, Pedal to the Metal,
My
Okay.
man.
All played it.
Rush MD, or Three Ring Circus.
Haven't played the last
I haven't
two.
played
Which
those.
one?
I haven't played
All
last.
right, I know we've already done a beans on Heat.
Yes.
Okay. Well, then,
We have not done a beans on
obvious
Trekking
then.
Through History,
Obvious then, yeah.
and we all like that.
I played it once.
I do like hearing about new games. So give me the other 2
Three
titles
Ring
again.
Surface and Rush MD.
Yeah, I haven't
Three
played
Ring
either one of
Surface is
those.
a new one that's getting a lot of buzz.
Yeah, it's brand new.
Three Ring Circus.
Yeah. That
All
was
right. So if Chris is going to give us give it the beans,
okay.
I'm going to vote Three Ring Circus.
Okay.
Anybody disagree?
From his side, yeah, it's good.
From him, yeah.
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 I like to hear it.
They've heard us talk about Trekking Through History. I think Wayne, you did a podcast with Mitch about
Yeah,
it.
We did.
We did a beans on Heat. Let's talk Three Ring Circus. Chris, give us your beans on Three Ring Circus? B, basics.
Pull up some pictures on that
All right,
while we,
so
yeah.
The basics is basically you are a second-rate.
Oh,
circus
not to
act.
freak you out a little bit there, Chris, but I will create a separate video of just this segment, and I'm literally going to call it "Give It the Beans, Three Ring Circus," and I'm going to post it. So don't screw it up. You're getting your own segment.
Yeah, no pressure, huh? No pressure. All right. So, like I said, you're basically running a second-rate three-rig circus that's basically behind, Barnum and Bailey, and you are basically collecting random circus acts, adding them to your circus, and touring around the United States, giving performances, making money, recruiting additional acts, and trying to basically score the most points until, the end of the game. That's basically the basics of it. It's basically a card collection, set collection type game where you have, your tableau of cards and you get points based off of where you place cards on your tableau. And yeah, that's basically the game.
All right, so then E, enjoyment, because what the beans are the BEANS. E is for enjoyment. What do you enjoy at a Three Ring Circus?
One of the things that I enjoyed is it actually has a lot of towns, like small-sized towns. It even has my hometown of Fort Wayne listed on the map.
Oh, Fort Wayne.
Yeah,
My man.
and you can run around to the small towns and give a circus performance, and actually, adjacent towns, because they're so small and there's literally nothing going on in those towns. Although people will come and see your circus, and you'll make extra money that way. Or you could travel to mid-sized towns or even large-sized towns. But the large-sized towns have really high requirements, which will earn you, additional points for being able to achieve that. But it has, in my opinion, like a unique timing mechanism for when the game ends, where there's actually a Barnum's and Bailey little token that's moving around the edge of the board, the outside of the board, not through the inner map at all. And it basically skips over any player-created pieces. So the players, in some ways, have a way of accelerating or decelerating the end of the game. So it's got a unique mechanism in that way, in my opinion.
Okay.
Any other enjoyments? So we talked about the unique end game mechanism. We talked about its highlighting of small towns in America, which is cool, being able to kind of see your hometown. Fort Wayne?
So,
Nick. I'm waiting on Nick because he jumped in on that.
So Fort Wayne. Well,
I'm learning about Nick here.
It's an 18XX reference there. One of the first 18XX games I got Wayne to play is 1846.
Okay.
One of the towns you want to go through.
I just didn't think you were from Fort Wayne.
No,
I
no,
wasn't
no.
sure where that came from.
No, but in 1846, Fort Wayne is one of the locations as well, and we pointed out that Wayne actually passed through with his train.
Several times.
He went through Fort. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I see the connection.
I will say real quick, Chris, before you said that, Wayne's got it up on the screen here. I saw Washington, D.C., where I'm from. I'm from Maryland, D.C. area. And I had that same moment of like, oh, that's where I'm from. That's cool. And so it was neat because we just talked about earlier in the show expeditions set in a really cool universe, but it's all fantasy, right? It is neat when a board game brings you into your own history.
This is why I own 2 copies of Puerto Rico. Right? Period. All right, so
Even the bad one.
which I've never played.
Yeah, the new one. Yeah.
All right, so that was the
I
enjoyment.
I also think one other thing I enjoyed about it is the fact that the art and the illustrations of it are very thematic. It's very, circus-y, themey. You actually feel like you're setting up a circus. You've got your 3 rings that you're trying to set up, and you actually feel like you're building a circus. So you actually feel very immersed in the circus theme as well.
Very nice. Aesthetics. So you're talking about the theme, so they kind of blends right into the aesthetics, also known as production value. A new term for Carlos.
English.
How's the production value and aesthetics in this game?
Production value is pretty good. All the tokens and stuff are made of wood, and they're painted really, like I said,
They're
with
painted.
the circus theme.
Like the little tents.
Yeah.
They're painted.
I love it.
Nice.
I love the little big
Yeah.
town. That's cool.
Yeah, and like you saw, you've got a little tent, plus your player marker, so to speak, is like a tiny little like circus train that's moving around and stuff like that. So, and last but not least, like your score marker is a little popcorn container,
Fun.
like you'd get whenever you go to entertainment and act like that. So yeah, the production value is pretty good.
Now, what about the
The
card
cards are nice and solid,
quality,
too.
the board quality, the chip quality? Any concerns?
I mean, the cards aren't like anything to write home about. They're standard cards. They're good quality. They're pretty solid. I wouldn't have any complaints with them whatsoever. The board's fine. It's just basically what you'd find in a good production value for a game.
Nice. All right, so that's the BEA. So now we're to the N of the beans, the negatives, and this one's tougher for most folks. What you got?
I would say one of the negatives for me personally. This might not be negatives for everyone, but because you're drafting cards and it's from a market, there's 4 or 5 cards that are available for you to draft from. Sometimes you're kind of limited in what it is that you can achieve on your board because those cards that you're looking for just are not coming up. And one of the big things is the big cities where you make big points. They have specific requirements. You have to have a specific act in your circus. And if other players are grabbing those acts, you can't go to the big cities before. You're locked out of those cities. You have to deal with the medium range cities and make medium range points. It doesn't necessarily knock you out of the game per se, but it makes it much harder for you if you can't get, 1 or 2 or ideally 3 or 4 of those acts into your circus so that you can go to those big cities, score big points. That's one thing I was kind of frustrated about was the market draft.
Is there anything that mitigates that? Because I've had those games, Arc Nova, looking at you, those games where you're really relying on a certain flop or a certain card to fill out a strategy. And it's just so frustrating. Is there anything that mitigates that in Three Ring Circus? Like a clearing of the market or an ability to draw out more cards than normal. And I know that we just played Expeditions. It has ways to sweep
all
it's
the
a
cards.
broom.
Yeah.
Sweep all the cards so you have opportunity to find what you need. Anything like that?
When I played, there was no sweep mechanic. If it exists in the game, it wasn't taught to me, so I don't think that's an option. But when you draft, you can draft from the top of the deck if you don't like what's out there on offer.
I don't like that.
But you're only drafting, 1, 2, or 3 cards at most. So it's not like you're getting tons of these cards. And when you draft these cards, you're doing that in lieu of earning points. So some of the points you'll get are from going to the mid-range cities. And when you perform at the mid-range cities, you can choose to either get some points for it or you can draft some additional cards to make your circus better. So you're not getting tons of these cards that you can work with, unfortunately.
Okay. Now, another way to mitigate that for me is the length of the game, right? Arc Nova being 3 hours plus every play that I've had of it.
Pretty much.
What are you saying, Wayne? You looked at me weird.
I think if you play it more, the first couple plays you get 3 hours.
better,
But
yeah.
it
Play
gets,
better.
the more you play, the
You're an
faster it gets.
apologist. That's
Yeah.
what you are.
Yeah, once I played 3 or 4
I'm
times, it
becoming
goes
a
quicker.
convert.
I heard you on the
I
podcast.
know.
It's
You're an
good.
apologist.
It's getting better the more I
What's
play.
the
Yeah.
play time on Three Ring Circus,
Circus.
Chris?
It varies depending upon, if people perform acts on the outside of the map, on the outer edges of the map along the road, then it would shorten the time. But you're looking at like an hour and a half maybe.
Okay.
Not too horrible. So, like, not getting the exact cards you need, you can still re-rack and play again that night.
Yeah, you could definitely do that. But the one thing that I want to know about the map of this game is it works similar to Power Grid, where if you have a lower player count, you start cutting off sections of the map. So at lower player counts, the map is smaller. But what's interesting is one thing I want to go back and add as far as the production value is this has really cool little oddly shaped cardboard pieces that you can use to cover up the map for the sections that are out, so it just looks normal. And I was like, that would be really good for Power Grid. But yeah, so I'll add that.
I like that. Yeah. All right. Well, that was the negatives. Unless you have any further, you want to beat this game up. It's up to you. How many negatives you want to get?
Oh, no.
All right.
I
In
would
summary,
definitely
so when Bees and Dice does their summary, our summary, we do buy, try, or deny.
Yeah.
What's your summary, and then why?
I would definitely give it a try. I wouldn't necessarily, give it a buy. I would trust people to play it sight unseen. But it's got, like I said, it's got really good theming. If you're into that kind of, happy-go-lucky circus performer, animals, elephants, that kind of stuff theme. It's definitely a try. I definitely wouldn't skip it though. In my opinion, it was definitely worth playing once, and I would play it again if it hit the table. It's not like one of those games where I'm glad I play it, but if someone offers me, I'll give it a eh. But if someone sets it down to play it at the table, is like, hey, you want to play Three Room Service? I'm like, sure, sounds fun.
Your opinion seems to be in the majority there. I'm hearing a lot of people are saying this game's kind of okay. It's not bad.
It's got some buzz, but
Yeah.
not enough buzz to like drive it to the
Yeah.
forefront. I've seen a bunch of YouTubers and Twitch people playing it, and it seems cool, but it also seems like
It's getting a lot of mediocre reviews.
Yeah,
I'm seeing a
like,
lot of people say it's
Yeah.
okay. It's not bad.
But I
Yeah.
tell you watch this while you're watching like The Greatest Showman. Then
There you go.
I-
Great show.
I was going to say, I mean, Chris's point is, if you're really into circus life,
Yeah.
it's amazing. It's like, well, that's just not that sticky of a theme.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you got
I mean, I
some
tell you what,
meth
yeah.
heads in Sarasota.
Right.
Like that's about it, right?
So I grew up in New York, right? So going to Madison Square Garden and seeing Barnum and
Barnum
Bailey,
Bailey.
Circus at Madison Square Garden was a giant part of my youth.
Yeah.
And so the concept of I've actually been interested in this game because of kind of my youthful memory of going to the circus at Madison Square Garden, which was like a thing. And even like my wife's also from New York. Like Barnum and Bailey Circus is talking about touring again. They're starting it back up, maybe.
Yeah, I took the kids here in Tampa at the Lightning
They're gonna
Stadium.
They're going to do it with the animals and go more acrobatic stuff. But I'm like, oh man, I've always envisioned as taking my kid to a circus, right? And so that.
I had that opportunity, and it was sad to hear when they shut down. My two older boys. My youngest boy has not been being able to take them. I remember going as a kid.
Right.
I remember seeing it as a kid.
The Barnum and Bailey Ringling Brothers Circus was like a big thing.
Yeah.
It was. Well, Chris, I want to hold on to you just a little bit longer. You let me know if you can't. Maybe another 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's fine.
Number one, I'm going to give you an achievement for being the first caller to provide a giveth the beans.
There you go. Yeah, first time.
I mean, like
Achievement unlocked.
there you go.
5 of these bad
You got
boys.
like 5 of them. Wow.
I hope we start a trend with that. I know we started a trend with the top 20 board, and we have folks in our Discord
love
that are
that.
giving. I love watching people's
Yeah,
top
good
20s.
stuff.
I don't comment on a lot of them, but I scroll through just to see and see kind of where they put games.
Need to comment.
I love that trend.
You stalk their top 20.
I'm a
Get in
troll.
there. Yeah,
I'm a
yeah.
troll.
Get in there.
And then now with Chris establishing this
Caller provided beans.
provide your own giveth the beans. I'm really hoping the rest of our viewers kind of model that. And I'm looking forward to this. Thank you. Number one, Chris, thank you for that. Number two, let's continue this conversation because you talked about if you like that theme. I heard The Showman from Wayne, right? I heard Nick talk about enjoying this theme. You would like this game, but who really likes it? What other circus games can we throw out there, the 5 of us together, for folks who, maybe like this idea, this theme, this world, that they should try?
Steam Park?
Steam Park.
Yeah, Steam Park.
Okay.
I know that one, yeah.
I think I remember that one. Wasn't that where you're building like robots that do?
You're
roller
building like
coasters.
roller coasters and robots, and you have trash and stuff. So it's not necessarily
It's a theme park.
it's a theme park versus a circus. But that's the first one that came to mind when I think of circuses. You think of amusement parks and those kind
Chris,
of.
you got any titles that you would a title that you would recommend? We're gonna go round robin.
I really enjoy the fun, fair, unfair
There you
games as well. I thought those were really enjoyable.
Yep.
I think our buddy
Unfair.
Yeah, it was Barry who
Barry.
brought it and
Yep.
taught it to us.
Yep.
There's the unfair and fun fair,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which is all a card placement, almost like a tableau building, where you're building themes onto your park to get attractions. And then the 2 titles are the same company, but they're different because one title is fun fair and the other one is unfair.
Unfair. You're punching your opponent in the face the whole
there's
time.
so much.
Unfair is-
Take
Unfair
that.
is great.
Yeah.
It's horrible. It's mean.
And Funfair takes all that out of it, and you're just paying attention to what you're doing.
I
But,
love
yeah.
that company did that. Like they
Yeah.
gave 2 options there. Like you want to be nice, have some fun fair.
There you go.
Yeah.
You wanna play cards that get your opponent inspected by food inspectors and all the restaurants have to shut down. Play unfair.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Any other titles?
So, sort of connected to the theme, the role and place pinball, the pinball game.
Oh, Super Arcade.
Super Arcade.
Yeah. Because it's, I mean, there's like that one board, a couple of boards where it's not
the
it's
clown
not,
one.
The clown one. Yeah,
it's
yeah,
not
okay.
necessarily circus theme, but that's what I thought of, like as far as that style, that art. and like this idea of playing this like lighthearted game.
I'll go last. Wayne, you're up.
What's the Scout? Isn't
Ah,
Scout?
you stole my one.
He already went. He already went. You should have gone.
Yeah, you should have gone.
Yeah.
Oh, did Wayne already go?
I did.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's how much memorable.
You go next because I'm looking. I got to try to remember the one that was Dice
Scout
Tower.
is a hand depletion
Is that Circus?
hand. Yes,
Circus
I
theme.
played that game.
the idea
How is
behind it
Scout
is that you're
circus
getting
themed?
different acts, and that's the numbers. They're all different, same
They're
type
just
of
numbers.
acts.
They have like big tops.
You
That
are
is
scouting
so
acts.
tacked on.
It is. It is.
Well,
totally
that is such a
totally
tacked on
Just
theme.
numbers.
It's a tacked on theme.
It's the hardest game for me to play, though. I so want to shuffle
Oh my god.
all the cards in my hand.
Well, that and Bonanza, which I love Bonanza, but that is the hardest thing I've ever had in my life. Not to reorder my hand.
See, but
every time
Scout
I
makes
pick
it
up.
harder because with Scout, the cards are two-sided, top and bottom. So not only do I want to organize them in like direction left to right, but I want to like orient the cards. And then I realize, oh crap.
Can't do that. All right, Rob's ready.
Found
Rob's
it, found
last.
it, found
Found
it.
it, found it.
Dreadful Circus.
Oh,
Dreadful
that's a
Circus.
good
BJ.
one.
BJ taught us
yeah.
at Dice Tower Con.
That's the one.
Not this last one. You won
it's
before.
The pass and bet thing.
Yeah,
Oh,
you got a
that's
little
good one.
little box that you're putting stuff in, and you're trying to bid for cards, and you
They
somebody's
played it on the Dice Tower. a
somebody's
while back,
playing the
too. It's
bid, and
really good,
everybody's giving them a box, and they have to choose. They can rattle the boxes, and they can decide to open one, and then they have to choose. I'm either going to pass on that one and give it back to you, and look at the next person's bid, or I'm going to take that one.
Dreadful Circus
And so
is a
yeah,
good one,
it's a
yeah.
real fun hidden things. You're trying to collect sets of different things. It's a fun one.
Creating
yeah.
like a macabre circus.
Yeah, it's good.
Carlos, I admit, I thought that you were like going down a well that was not going to yield any fruit here with
Oh,
circus
there you
themed
go.
games.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
like,
don't
we're
give
all-
me credit.
There's some out
Our
there.
man Chris from Tampa
job. There
Gaming
you go.
Guild,
Yeah.
right?
Diego's
Yep.
got one in chat.
Oh,
What?
10 Penny Park,
There you go. That's
says
a newer one.
Diego. Tile Lane Building and Amusement Park.
That's one from the last year
Yeah.
or so. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
So Chris tapped a well there. The circus-themed games.
Yeah.
It's not. It's not going to be Three Ring Circus. That's not going to be the one. Try it. See if you like it.
Yeah.
But I think Scout is a buy. Like period. Like
Yeah,
Scout is a
Scout's
buy.
automatic.
Oh yeah, Scout's great.
Yeah.
But Scout is not
Numbers.
circus themed at all.
Numbers
That's like
game.
saying the
You're not gonna get
crew
off
is
that, are you,
space-themed.
Chris?
It's got a
That's
little
like saying
picture of a
Chris.
circus tent on the front of it, right?
Come on,
yeah.
It's a great game, but it's definitely not circus themed.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah. Agreed.
Chris, thank you so much for the call. Thanks for establishing what I hope is a new trend on the show.
I love it.
I wish you the best in your time down at Dice Tower Retreat, and hopefully you'll call back next
Say
week.
hi to Tom from Florida for us.
Yeah, Tom from Florida. There you go.
Tell him the Beans and Dice crew
All
says
right,
hi,
guys.
and you're part of it now.
Sounds good, guys. You guys have a good night.
Thanks
Good
for
night.
calling.
Have a good-
That was fun.
Yeah.
That was pretty interesting. I'm gonna make that. I'm gonna pull that out. I'm gonna
Yeah,
snippet
that's
that
a
one
good
out.
Little
That's a
bites
good
or
one.
whatever you call it.
Yeah, the bites thing
Bites,
I do,
yeah.
where I
Mhm.
pull out segments of the show.
Quickly, somebody call in. Someone else call in.
Yeah, it's 10:45.
That's
We got time maybe for one more call. Phone line is open 813-618-7099. I know we were supposed to talk about games we played in the month of August.
It's pretty
Well-
limited. Rob and I played a bunch together, and we
Because
talked about them
normally
already.
the next week we talk about what made the top
Yeah.
20.
Let's talk about our special guest here.
Yeah.
So our special guest
Oh,
hosted
hi.
a game day
I
at,
did. He did.
at his house this last Saturday.
What was played?
Yeah, we played a bunch of good stuff there, and it was technically still September, I think, but
Yeah.
you know, whatever.
Well,
Yeah,
it's close enough.
and yeah, that was a lot of fun. We did it. I like how Sam, member of the Bean and Dice community, pointed out it was like a get together by point salad. So 'cause I made a big deal about how it was a social event. We had a pool party.
Yep.
We were doing a barbecue, and oh, by the way, we played board games.
Appreciate all the smoked
and
meat.
he had like
Yeah.
goats and chickens and,
And farm
Oh,
animals. That's
turkey,
right. That's right. Yeah, we did a
goats and
farm tour
chickens
of the goats and chickens, and then I was smoked a couple of different styles of pork, and we had some family.
We got to play with the snake
Yeah,
and
nice.
all kinds of stuff at the house. So
That's right.
So we played some good games. What was your highlight? What were your highlights of the game?
So the game, ironically enough, right under Expeditions over there, Euphoria, another Stonemeyer game,
Oh, yeah,
an
yeah.
older one that I had, 2013. I just looked it up.
Yeah.
2013. Had never played it before, and I had a blast. Sam
What game?
taught
What game?
Euphoria.
Euphoria?
Euphoria. Yeah. I had a lot of fun with that. It had all of the maturity of a Stonemaier game that you'd expect. Like it was a full, rich game, and for whatever reason had just flown under my radar entirely.
This was
Like,
Jamie's first design. I don't know if you knew that, but
I
that was
did
the
not.
first game he
No,
designed. Yeah.
I liked it a lot. I thought it
Yeah.
was great with the different tracks you could go. It had that same thing that it's still present. Things like when conditions are public, they're kind of out there. There's some hidden information like who your second recruit was or whatever that is.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But like it gave me that swim lane to operate in, and I just used the machinery given to me. I liked it a lot. We have
You
a
know,
caller?
we have a caller, and I was
Yeah.
trying to find a place, but I'm sure he's familiar with the difficulty of trying to find a breath that
Yes.
you allow us to introduce us.
Oh, yeah.
On the show today, for the first time live, our man Bowser out of Maryland.
Oh, wow. Very nice.
Hello, hello.
Hey,
Hello.
Craig, how's it going, man?
Doing great. So normally Thursday night is my board game night, so I can never call in because I'm always gaming right now. But no game night tonight. We had back to school night for the kids.
Sorry to hear that.
So, yep. But actually, this is the second week in a row. I'm in quite a lull for actually getting games on the table. But regardless, it lets me call in, so it's all cool.
That's great, and thanks for staying up late here to 10:47 p.m. That's pretty nice.
So what 18XX game do you want to discuss tonight?
Or Sagamore Ride
So-
Spirits from Baltimore, Maryland.
That's right.
Yeah, nice. Very nice. Very nice. Yeah. So actually, yeah, sure. We can talk about 18XX. That's always good with me. As Nick knows, I am severely delinquent in taking my turn in 1880 China right now.
That's true.
But yeah, it's very true. It's been a busy week. But yeah, so I actually have 3 18XX games on pre-order / Kickstarter that should be delivering like this month, which is like which is fantastic because like you might get like 2 or 3 published ones that come out in a year, maybe. So having several come out at like all at once is very exciting. Now it's just gonna be trying to find the time to get them to the table.
Nice.
Nice. Here, Craig, I have a question for you. I'm live on the air. We've been doing a lot of Stonemaier lately. We did a Stonemaier game earlier today. I just mentioned Euphoria. How do you do what you do in Tapestry?
Oh, yeah.
Witchcraft and wizardry.
Yeah.
Exactly. Last time I played with him, he had you had 3 civilizations in the first 2 turns of the game or something.
Last time I
It
played with him, he
crazy.
was like 340 points in a base game. I'm like,
Crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. The game I'm in the groove with that game, and it just works. I mean, the first half of the game / 3/4 of the game is just getting those little houses off your player board and into your capital. That's all I'm focusing on. Just
You know what,
getting those
Bowser?
little
Like that
houses
is the complete. And listen,
Yeah.
high score here is 63.
Full disclosure.
Ever.
how?
You have to try to do that.
But
Making an effort.
that is the last thing I worry about is moving those damn little houses. That's like the last
Yep.
thing I do. So now
And
we know
that-
how.
And that is the game.
You gotta
Yeah.
get them all
Is
out.
it though?
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
Yeah.
You have to get as
Yeah,
many of those little
you
houses.
Get
out
those
as
off because it
possible.
allows you to collect more resources every turn and allows you to score those points for the verticals and the horizontals. Yeah.
Yep. I saw I think it was an interview or read an interview with Stegmeyer how like that was the genesis of the game. That was the start of the game. Creating it was he wanted these little houses that you got off of your player board and like put into this capital or whatnot. So paraphrasing a little bit, but like that was his original focus of the game and is carried straight through, and that's really what it's all about. And then in the last quarter of the game, then it's just like, okay, what can I do that's cool now?
Right.
Can I play 6 space tiles? Can I get 2 extra civs? Can I, get 13 techs all upgraded? What can I do that's cool that's going to score me points?
And I guess coming
But
from
before
a
that-
4X like war gamer background, 4X and war gaming, I see the board and I'm all like, okay, I got to move stuff on the board. Like that's my number one goal is I want to move stuff.
Area
I want to
control.
explore.
The main board. You're talking about the big board.
Yes,
Yeah,
the
okay.
hexagonal
Yeah.
board.
Hexagonal.
Yeah.
that thing.
Yeah.
I want to explore it. I want to push myself
And
against
that's a
Nick.
good way to score points if you just do that and like you have to do a couple other things with it. But yeah.
But if the primary thing is that, like Robert and I talked about, like our first few plays, we're like, okay, we like the game except for the sideboard
I hated
thing.
the little board. It was a complete distraction for me the first couple
The
times.
city
I played.
board.
and then you realize it was necessary.
And then I realized how
Oh,
to
no,
use
no.
it. Now
I'm at
scoring-
63 points.
now I'm
I
scoring-
haven't realized anything.
I'm scoring 300 points now because I figured that part out. But yeah.
Well, I remember when we first started playing, I was a little frustrated because I thought it was actually kind of like Expeditions now, where it's like there's certain things that we feel like you have to do. I remember my first probably 4 plays of Tapestry where I was like, is there a strategy besides exploration and military, like the blue track and the red track? I was like, you kind of have to just do those, until I went up the science track and I was like, oh, the science track is good mid and late game. Like if you can get to those free advancement spots later on in the science track, and then the invent track or whatever it's called,
Innovation.
yellow one, that one is super powerful. So I will say that the game has definitely blossomed for me on all of the tracks are valid, and you just got to play your civ and whatnot.
See, my wife keeps asking me to bring it back to the table. And much like Viticulture World, games where I lose terribly in, I'm like, is there anything else you want to play?
See, like,
There's more Mosaic.
And I generally score like 175 is low, 225 is decent, right? So 200 is a good score for an average player. And that's what I score normally. So like I want to create like games on BGA to play with people, but I almost want to say like, Nick and Rob and Bowser, you're not allowed to join this game. Like, you're just not allowed to join. Like, I want to, like, it's open to all Beans and Dice players except for these 3 jabronis.
And I will
who
tell
just
you
get right out.
I will tell you, I am aware of that because when a new game is set up, I look at who's in the game and I'm like, should I enter this game or not? Because am I going to ruin somebody's experience?
Bowser's like, I'm in. I'm going to crush you.
Wayne, you need to set up some games with me in them.
So you can feel better about yourself.
I can boost.
Pump up my own ego. And I'm kidding. I will play with anyone anytime. But jokingly, like I'm like, God damn it! If I create this game, I know Bowser's gonna join it.
Craig, I don't know if you actually were listening earlier in the show, but Marvel Champions came up as well. I don't know. I don't want to steer your call.
Ooh.
It's your show.
Actually,
your show.
no, that's cool. That is actually the game I have most recently gotten on the table.
There you go.
And that was 2 weeks. 2 weeks ago, we have 4 guys on our regular game night, and we just rotate whose pick that is that week. And one of our guys happens to own a comic book store. He owns and works at his own comic book store.
Nice.
So unsurprisingly, Marvel Champions is a huge hit with him because it's great because then he tells us all of the super extended theme that's going on with these characters. And I have a blast with it. But yeah.
But does
so
he
we
go?
actually play-
Does he say actually before anything?
Actually,
If you, he will if you want him to.
I love it.
But yeah.
So,
yeah,
by the way,
a four-player
I know,
game, and
Craig, I know obviously who he's talking about. Ian, great guy. Ian,
Yes.
he is exactly who you think he is.
Oh, yeah.
It's okay.
Stereotypical.
Great, though.
It's okay to sometimes be exactly
That guy.
who you think
That
we
guy.
are.
He's awesome.
yes, yeah, for sure. So we had a big 4-player game. I know most people tend to shy away from 4 players with that game because it can get kind of long.
Ron
But,
said that.
I
Ron
don't
said
know,
that in a call earlier. He said he does not play Marvel Champions 4 players unless he knows exactly who he's playing with.
Yeah, and it's exactly that. We all know exactly who we're playing with. We all know the game really well. Our turns can flow. Even if someone's playing a new character, we just have a good time with it. So we can play it at 4. But I can see if I'm sitting down with some new players, I might be a little hesitant to play with it at 4. I'd be like, you know what? Why don't we see if we can get another person or 2 and play like 2 games of 3 or a couple games of 2? But
Right.
But the game
and I'm not
does
going
hold
to
up
end
with
your
4
call
players.
early. The show is still yours, but I'm going to ask. I for the first time, I have been kind of committing now to try it, to maybe even buy it, because they're describing it to me as a more streamlined version of other games that I've loved before, but felt are too heavyweight.
Arkham that you fell asleep during, but go ahead.
Hey,
Yep.
listen, if I fall asleep to the game, other than Way of the Panda,
You've done that for 4 or 5 games. But
okay,
yeah, go ahead.
yeah, anyway,
okay.
back to Chris. Chris, when it
Right.
comes to the dichotomy of the complexity of Marvel Champions to 18xx game. Like, how do you live in those two spaces and still talk about them with that much enthusiasm?
Man, I play everything from Love Letter to TI4, and I'm happy with them all.
Wait, what was that game you said?
Put
Love Letter. It was
TI4 on the
Love
end.
Letter.
TI4.
I like Love Letter.
Yeah, we have an 18xx game that we play annually that takes about 16 hours to play. We literally do like 2 hours online a couple days beforehand, like the opening draft, so that when we get together on Saturday, we can literally play like 12 to 14 hours of the same game, laying tracks all across Europe. And then I'm just as happy playing that as I am just chucking dice in the game of Can't Stop and hooting and hollering.
God help you.
So I don't know. Every bit of the hobby attracts me. I'm sitting next to some lightly painted that needs some more paint miniatures for Star Wars Shatterpoint that I'm having a blast with.
Ooh, I just
that's
listened
sitting
to
up and going to
the
the
Secret
game store to
Cabal
play with.
podcast. They did a
Shatterpoint.
review on
Yeah.
Shatterpoint. I love that extra
They put it
damage
together
where
and
you
stuff,
spend
though.
it on the flow chart to do the extra abilities. I'm trying to stay away from buying more. Anyway, this is
Flowcharts.
about Chris.
Yeah.
Now, Chris, I'm sorry, Craig. Bowser. When it comes to
Yes.
Chris was our last caller. When it comes to Nick, I remember first meeting Nick was I hosted a demo of TI4.
That's like a new sound effect we need to get around.
You need to get me going.
Role playing games.
Go ahead.
TI4. ATX.
I hosted a TI4 demo, and Nick showed up pretending like he didn't know how to play Twilight Imperium.
I had never played TI4 before.
But what I gathered in my
Oh yeah, there you go.
in my few hours meeting Nick at Armada Games when I hosted that demo was Nick was fiending for some gaming experiences that he was missing from his time in Maryland. Was he part of your game group up there?
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
So
Hearing how you
college.
describe what you guys are playing, I can now understand how Nick looked at me like Dave Chappelle looking for some cocaine.
Cutting more of them.
Tyrone Big
No,
Guns.
I also want to talk about like the pure Lou Holtzing, if anyone knows that term from football, of like, I've never played TI4.
He just showed up.
I've only played TI3 75,000 times.
Right.
But I've never played TI4, guys. I don't know. It's a brand new
No
game to
idea what
me.
I'm getting into
No
here.
idea.
I want to hear Craig's story because he's about to tell a story of how he met in college.
Yeah. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Craig.
Yeah. So I first met Nick. I think he had purple hair at the time, and it was probably about 23 years ago because it would have been in the fall of 2000.
Young-
We
youngins.
first
Now
met
it's
in
mostly
college,
gray.
and then and then, I got a little going on there too, and we just became great friends. We ended up living together with a bunch of other guys. We started playing D&D. One of the guys in the group played D&D, and I was like, "This is fantastic. We should be playing this with our group of guys." And we just kept playing that. Played a bunch of poker, and then eventually we just kind of fell into board games. After we finished a D&D session early one time, and I brought Seven Wonders along, and I remember teaching that to Nick, and Nick's eyes just got like real wide. Like, this is fun. This is really good. There's lots of different strategies you can do here. And this was like one of my first 10 board games I'd purchased. And after that, it was like, "Hey, Nick, we're gaming. You in?" "Yeah, I'm in." And so we've just been gaming together ever since. And yeah, I've been in the hobby maybe 6 months or so. And then I kept hearing TI3. It's this big, huge game. And I was like, I got a bunch of guys that like to play games that don't really have that many other responsibilities right now. I bet you we could do this.
So, well, and to paint the picture where we were in our life, right, Craig? Not to jump in real quick, but so TI3 at the time cost $90 whole.
Oh,
right?
no.
Dude, you could have got a box of TI3 for this one little box of Expedition.
Luxury game.
And I remember we went in, and it was a thing. We split
it 4 ways?
We split it 6 ways.
6 ways.
Because it played up to 6. It
15
played
bucks
up
a
to 6 at the time, and we split it 6 ways.
That's a good
15 bucks
investment.
a piece
Good
or whatever.
investment. Yeah.
And it was hilarious.
Did you take your Hakan home with you? Like, I put $20 in this. I'm taking Hakan.
Yeah, that's my faction.
But yeah, so go ahead, Greg.
We played TI3 every other month for 2 years. We played 12 times over the course of 2 years, which for most people that is a heck of a lot. Twilight Imperium,
and that's full player count. It was started at 6.
Yeah.
It started at 6, and then we got the expansion to go to 8, and then it was 8 every time.
Oh.
Yep.
Damn. Weekend. That's a weekend.
Is this the
Time.
appropriate insertion of a?
I mean, I played it 3 or 4 times in like 10 years. You know?
No, I remember when I first got my copy of TI4 because Zeno introduced me.
yeah.
Brian Zeno introduced me to
this.
TI3
Yeah.
at my
Your
old
house.
home,
Yeah, your
the
house.
tiny house
Yeah.
over off of Bears and like 22nd, the
Yep,
tiny
yep.
house back then.
Yep.
I had
I was there.
8 of us there,
I was there.
and we spent I think 14 almost hours there. Fist fights almost broke out.
You and what's her name almost got into a fist fight.
Listen, I always said I would never hit a woman, but I'd be willing to shake the hell out of one.
Chris Rock.
Chris Rock. And she kneecapped me like in round 3. And I was done for the rest of the game. You know, I was in my own house. I couldn't leave.
The whole rest of
I
the
had
game,
these people in my
the
house.
whole next 12 hours, y'all were just debating. I just listening to y'all talk to each other. Why did you do that? Why would you do that?
Anyway, I fell in love with the game. I ended up buying TI4, and I think we played it like 6 times from like November to New Year's, with Nick coming over here at the house. You know, we had I got our money out of that.
Let's go. Let's
Once a
get
year. I'll do it once a year.
On Rob's birthday.
Before
We-
the end of this year, let's get
No
a
more
TI
birthday
in.
crap.
Let's
I
get-
agreed to that one time. 'cause we
Before
were
the
gonna-
end of the year, let's get it in.
We're
Are we
gonna
doing
play
a
and
belt
play
though?
something
Because I
else.
think I'm like 5-0 or 6-0 or something in this group.
That's
We've already
challenge,
accepted.
yeah.
Second player is considered the winner whenever Nick's around. Hold on, Craig. Here in Tampa, Florida, we
Yeah.
cannot seem to beat Nick at this game. Was he like that up there in the Northeast?
So Nick, I definitely remember Nick winning several times. He wasn't. I don't think he won. Like he was always in contention. I don't think I've ever played a single
Didn't
game where Nick
dominate?
wasn't in contention.
Okay.
But no, he didn't. He didn't dominate. We were also all learning the game at the same speed,
Okay.
and we just had lots of players who just really liked the game, and so I think that kind of helped. We all started at square one about the same time, and so by the time we had got to game 7 or 8, everybody around the table could see who was in the best position at all times, and we could self-balance the game pretty well because you have to. The game is not balanced. You have to self-balance the game, and so if half the table doesn't realize who is in a winning position, that person will win.
Yeah.
And so.
Craig, I remember. So this is funny. I've actually quoted you without you knowing it many times about TI, but then it applies to other games as well, where the game provides the mechanics for you to fix the balance of the game throughout it. So, like Carlos, you mentioned getting kneecapped in the 3rd round. In theory, you and the other players should have seen that and rebalanced it and be like, hey, like we need to go pick on someone else now.
Well, and that was the thing. She like round 8. She says to me, "Hey, listen, can I just move my people through your sector
Because I need
over
to get
there?"
to that thing on the other side.
And
to
I
get
said,
an
I looked
objective.
at her dead in the eyes. Hold on,
Why wouldn't you just ask
put
me
on the
that?
damn camera here. I looked at her dead in the eyes and said, "Is that why you attacked me in round 3?" And she said, "Yes, I have this objective where I need to get there." I said, "Why the hell didn't you ask me in round 3? I gave no Fs about who was around me. You could have flew through my home system. I didn't care. Like you destroyed the rest of my. All you had. Oh my god!
But that's where games like TI,
8th to 9th place, right there. Yeah.
But that's where games like TI and even A10XX and some of the other ones, though, if you have someone that knows the game and newbies, it's not a good game.
Well, okay, so Craig
You
says
have to have-
it can be balanced, right?
Yeah.
Well, but he said like they
By
all learn
people
the
who
game
know
at the
it.
same
By
time. So
people
if
who
you have
know
8
it.
people
Yeah.
that play the same,
Yeah.
if you have 8 people that are playing TI every other month for 2 years long, y'all are gonna learn how to balance the game.
Yeah.
But if after 6 months
Somebody knows the
4
game.
of those people bounce, and you have 4 people that played it 4, 5, 10 times, and 4 newbies, it's gonna suck.
All right, well, I'm going to give some new info to Nick here and share with Chris. I'm sorry, with Craig. Chris was our last caller. Craig's out of Maryland.
Yeah,
Get him right.
Craig.
He's had a lot of whiskey.
yeah. He's had a lot of whiskey.
Thank
and
you.
bourbon.
The rye whiskey. It's amazing.
Yeah, this was a full bottle.
Out of Maryland, right?
By the way.
We got halfway through it. Yeah.
Craig, check this out. It got to the point where we had side chats side text.
Oh, we had
Side
Taco Bell-
conversation.
side Taco Bell visits.
Right. We went to Taco Bell and talked about, listen, guys, whatever we do, we cannot let Nick win. I don't give a dang where you think you are. It is about the greater good of the game.
Universe versus
But the
Nick.
problem is
What did
somebody
Barry-
always screwed that up.
what did
Barry,
Barry-
Barry
what did
would,
Barry do?
I would say Barry would always flip. He'd be in on that with us, and then as soon as an opportunity came,
I
say, you know
still
what?
remember that.
I can win. I can win this.
Right. I said, and I looked at Barry. I stood up. I stood up and I looked at Barry. Well, all you see is my chest now. I stood up and I looked at Barry and said, Barry, we talked about this very moment happening.
Oh, yeah.
That there will be a moment
Oh, yeah.
where you think you can take Mechatol Rex and you're going to win it.
And you're
But it's a
not.
lie.
But we're past-
Nick has a plan ahead of us. We need to stick together, Barry. Prepare for this
He
moment.
betrayed you.
And Barry looked at me and said, No,
can win.
I can do it.
I can win
I can
this.
do it.
I can win.
Barry, it is a lie. It is not going to happen. And what does Barry do?
Yeah.
He makes his run for Mechatol
Well,
Rex.
if it's past round 3 and Barry hasn't taken Mechatol Rex, there's a problem. So anyway.
and Nick wins.
Yep.
And Nick wins. And to this day, he's undefeated here in Tampa, Florida.
Yeah,
and Wayne, you're right. We need to set up another date before the year is up.
Yeah, we can do
And,
this.
and like
players
this
versus Nick.
time,
I play it not on my
We
birthday.
can
My
convince-
birthday's already passed.
Convince Bowser to come down, and then I
Yeah.
won't win. It'll be fun.
Yeah,
you go.
there you go.
Maryland trip.
There you go. That's
Bring the whole family down. You can send a family to Busch Gardens for the day, and we can play.
It would not be the first time Mitchell brought the whole family to Tampa so that we could play some games.
oh, we had a lot of games with
Oh,
Mitchell
yeah,
here in
yeah.
Studio B.
We had a
That's
whole
the first
weekend.
time we met. My wife was like, "Are you sure?
Whole weekend
This
of
guy's
games.
coming from Louisiana. He's going to come to the house.
Yep.
You don't even know this guy?
Yep.
Like, well, I talked to him online a few times.
He brought his whole family down here, all 4 of them. Yeah.
But you know, here in Florida, also in Louisiana, it's a very 2A friendly state.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
everyone here in Florida carries.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know this guy very well, but I'll be ready.
Be safe. We'll be all right. Anyway.
Craig, great call. Thank you for introducing yourself in person. That was. There was a lot of good calls tonight. I can't say that any of
Wrapping up the show on a good note. Yeah.
But yes, wrapping up the show on a good note. Close us out. I'll let you close out the whole show. You do the outro and everything, Craig, and I will play the button of Mrs. Oben telling us good night.
I'm going home. Night.
Oh, I was totally not prepared for this. not prepared at all. You know what? I'm a big Secret Cabal fan, and they have a words of wisdom at the end of all of their episodes,
I like it.
and it's one of their hosts, Tony Topper, just like
I love Secret Cabal.
pontificating on whatever comes to his mind. And so I'll just impart my words of wisdom.
Okay, and I
And
got some
that
music
is,
for you. So not quite their music, but here you go. Go ahead, sir.
You know what? I just whenever I am gaming, even if I am not enjoying the game, I make an effort to enjoy the company and enjoy the time that I spend with other people. And I would say that's actually one thing that I have learned from Nick. Nick is very awesome at that. And so people be more like Nick.
Oh.
Words of wisdom from Craig in Maryland.
Wear more kilts.
Man, I got to learn to take longer turns. Yeah. Anyway.
Thank you so much,
Well,
Craig.
Craig, tell the folks at home good night. Tell them thank you for watching. Shut us down.
All right. Good night, everybody. Thank you for watching.
Thanks for watching.
This has been the Beans and Dice podcast.
There you
Don't
go.
forget to like and
Forgot about
subscribe.
apiary, Carlos.
Oh, yeah, I can talk about apiary.
Oh, we got to talk about Apiary. We're not shutting it down. Good night, Craig.
Good night, Craig. We love you.
See ya.
No, I only pointed
Good
that out
night.
because you literally promised Aaron that we're going to talk about it real quick.
I did. Let me shut off the phones.
5 minutes.
All right, we got
Like, so that was the close of the show, but
Rob's
now
gotta
after
pee,
the show, this is
so
the
5
after
minutes.
show.
I got to pee. We got to go.
That's fine.
Apiary.
No, go
Yes.
ahead.
Stonemeyer Games.
Bees,
The bees.
in space.
Bees take over.
Bees.
Bees take over the world.
I'm definitely interested. Actually, I will say this is a theme that I connect to. I like the whole insect thing.
Really?
I do. So I am the proud owner of 2 beehives that are not populated with any bees, but actually like
I have boxes
I
in
have
my
boxes.
yard.
I have wooden boxes with no bees.
Well, correct me. You actually were working with your son on a game based on ants.
Ant Kingdom.
Yeah,
That's
there we
right.
go.
Yeah. With
Yeah.
So like the insect world is really
Okay.
rich and interesting.
Makes sense.
There's a lot of like organizational things you can do there. I'm definitely interested. I mean, Stonemeyer, they always put out good stuff, I think. But I like the insect theme.
My 2 colder kids were having a big discussion last night, I think it was, about the ant graveyard thing. There's a whole experiment about pheromones from ants who are dead, and they actually carried their ants to a graveyard.
Really?
And they experimented by putting those pheromones on a live ant, and the other ants will pick that ant up and put it in the graveyard, and then it crawls out, and then they will go back and put it back in the
Go
graveyard.
back home.
Yeah.
They're like zombies.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, yeah. Side note, but go ahead.
No.
Yeah.
I only read Jamie's email about it or whatever, talking about ants in space. Humans are no longer the dominant species. Now you've got these bees,
Sentient
right?
bees.
Humans have passed on. Humans supposedly there was some catastrophic event, and ants have risen up and become.
I've seen
sentient.
Terminator. I know how this goes.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
I'm definitely interested. I like the theme. I actually don't even know. Did he talk a lot about the mechanics?
It's worker placement.
There was a trailer, so I watched the trailer.
Yeah. Worker
Diego, our buddy Diego, posted a trailer. Thank you, Diego.
Yep.
Ron Fraser says this is better. This better not be Mariposa.
Oh, it better not be.
And he says, "Wait, it's not AEG. No, it's Stonemaier, so
Yeah,
it could be
So
better."
the thing though is the whole space thing and the futuristic. That's all an add-on. This was a game. Actually, what's funny is you guys went to the Stonemaier Design Day.
I've been twice. Yeah.
This might have been one of the games at the Design Day you guys went to, because if you guys, he said the year.
The designer is a name that I recognize.
It's a new design. It's a new designer. This is their first game.
Yep, he was there.
He or she. I
thought it was a he.
I
But
can't
yeah.
remember.
Yeah.
I don't recall playing any game with these mechanisms.
Right, no, but
It is a
like-
he, but with a name that
okay, maybe
could go
yeah.
both ways. Yes.
And it was at his Stonemaier Design game, like within the last 2-3 years.
Yeah.
So when I heard him say that, I'm like, man, I wonder if Rob and Carlos were there. Maybe they played this game or didn't.
I didn't
but
play it,
It was
but yeah.
only a bee-based game then. It was a beehive-based game set in like today, right?
Yep.
And then he said, I like it, but can we add a space theme to it? I'm like,
Let's put it in space.
Why not space? Why not? So I don't know. His games haven't hit for me hard in the last 4 or 5 games. They're
Stonemaier?
all good games, but I'm just like, I don't know.
All right, well,
You're wrong.
you brought up a point that kind of takes away from my concern with the game, right? My concern was that this was a space game, a space colonization game, but that it was watered down by making it bees instead of humans,
and they had the
right? Just trying to get away from the colonizer thing. But that doesn't sound like that's the case.
No,
That
it's
it
the
was
other
a
way
bee
around.
game and they added the
Yeah,
space
yeah.
fairing to it.
Yeah.
Again, a lot of the mechanisms in there really do stay. Like Jamie Stegmaier's book of business is in this realm of positive player experiences.
Right.
The idea that wherever you are when you place your worker, you don't block that space. That in ¿cómo se llama? What's the name of this
If
game?
someone bumps you from the,
apiary
if someone
bumps
bumps you
you,
from the spot,
your worker
gets
becomes
tougher.
powerful,
Yeah.
more
Yeah.
powerful than
Yeah.
they were before.
That was cool. I
You're
like
hoping
that
somebody
concept.
bumps you. Yeah.
But then
Yeah.
that makes it really tough decision space
Euphoria.
on
Euphoria,
yes.
Yeah, Euphoria. When somebody bumps you, you
There's
get your
dice
worker
space.
back.
It's
The
dice
worker-
space,
the
right?
worker-
But
Yeah.
not only do you get your worker back here, they roll up and they're more powerful.
Oh yeah, in Euphoria it's
yeah.
not, but yes, in this one it is. Yes.
So like Euphoria, we talked about Euphoria when we talked about our play of it.
yeah.
Was like that's a tough decision. Like I want to go to that spot, but then I know I allow Robert to get more access to other actions.
Yep.
Right.
But now in this game, not only do I allow Robert to get more actions, his worker's upgraded. So like, do I really want to go to this place? And I have to do the cost benefit analysis of me going to that space. What do I gain versus Rob getting a more powerful
So
unit?
Design Day 2021. That's when you guys went to, isn't it?
Yeah, but we didn't
yeah,
get to
yeah,
play
yeah.
that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that
No.
game was
Yeah,
there.
he was
though.
there. Yes, I remember
Yeah.
his name being on the list, and I
Okay.
remember we didn't get to play it. So I just was looking, Chester.
All I
Yo,
remember
bro,
was the
these are
cookies.
space bees. Yeah, yeah.
Space
anyway.
bees.
Space bees.
I love how what was funny is I love how so Jamie accidentally posted the hullabaloo is Jamie accidentally posted his blog early. So Mr. G's actually, I'm going to shout you out. He messaged somebody on the Stonemaier forums and they said, oh yeah, no, Jamie accidentally posted it like 4 a.m. or 8 p.m. when he meant it to be 8 a.m. or whatever it is. And so a couple of people quickly grabbed it.
Yeah.
And that's why that Dice Breaker article and a couple of YouTube videos got posted like 4 or 5 a.m.
Yeah, I heard a few
that
people were
morning.
bitter about that they kind of screwed that up because there were people that were waiting for the embargo deadline
The embargo
to come
deadline.
up, and there were videos posted before
Posted
that.
earlier. But
And-
the videos were
yeah.
posted early because Jamie screwed up and posted
Yeah.
something early or released something early or whatever. Yeah, so.
There were a few content creators that were bitter about that.
Yeah. Oh, and so
Yeah.
here we go. Miss G's. Connie. It's a she. It is a she.
Oh, it
That's
is.
what I thought. Yeah,
Oh, it is
yeah,
she.
yep,
Okay.
It's a she.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
For some reason, I thought it was a he, but
Yep,
okay.
yep.
Yeah.
That's our man, Colin, Chi-Town.
Check it out. So.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm somewhat excited about it, but I think it's a try before I buy.
Yeah,
But the why though? But why
The
though?
why
Right?
is because just like Nick, I've got 500. Well, Nick's
I mean, it's
300. I got 500 board games. Every game's a try before I buy
I
now.
think you say every game is try before you buy for me.
Yeah, at this point.
I've always been that way. Yeah, I've never.
No,
tried to-
see, for Stonemeyer for a long time there, everything was a buy. Like just get it.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
Well-
I like their catalog, and then like Pendulum hit, and I'm like, I paid for Pendulum. Like, I bought it.
Yeah, I mean, so Stonemeyer is fairly reliable, right? I mean, he
They're all
puts
good
out
games.
good comment, and I mean, Jamie,
Production value.
Yeah, Jamie himself is great for the community. I love what he does every week on
Yeah.
Facebook. He goes live. So I will say, like, I rate Expeditions Tonight a try, though that being said, I bought it before trying it. Just because, you know what? I
trust the
Stonemeyer
publisher.
games.
Scythe
Yeah.
is one of my favorite games.
You really can't go
I want
wrong
it.
because like Pendulum and Red Rising are probably the two lowest rated of his games. I think maybe depending on
No, I think Pendulum's there.
Pendulum's.
probably,
Yeah, and it's not a horrible game.
But Red Rising to me is like one of the ones I like.
Yeah, yeah.
Got
It's
it right
okay.
there.
Yeah.
I haven't played
Yeah.
yet. I've read the trilogies. That was one where
I've read two
I
of the three.
invested more in that game, having never played it, than almost any other
All
game.
right, break it. Let's
I
play tonight.
read-
Let's do it.
I read the entire trilogy and haven't played the game yet.
I love the
Yeah.
game. Mitchell and I have played by Zoom. That's how much we
Yeah,
liked
you
it.
Yeah,
did.
I want to play the
He
game.
set up his copy at
Right
home.
after-
I set up my copy.
Right after the pandemic.
If I
yeah.
played a card, he would have to go
Find
find
the
his
card.
deck and take the card out of his deck so that he wouldn't get it.
I want to play. I'm on book 3, so I want to try that again.
It's
Have you read the books?
no,
Okay. yeah.
No. Books are good.
just reading it off the game. It's
Robert, reading's a thing.
Oh, yeah, right. Anyway,
Fundamental.
So that's our thoughts on Apiary. We
Yeah.
promised Aaron.
We promise, and I apologize for not
No.
for robbing Craig of
Bees in
his
space.
closing of the game. But
Bees
I,
in
just-
space.
like,
I
you
will,
saw
pro-
you promise
I will
it.
probably pre-order it. I'll say that.
there you go. All right, Nick's
So
got it.
here's the thing. I didn't pre-order Expeditions, and then I ended up buying it at Dice Tower
For
as
more.
soon as I
Or
could.
I could pre-order for you as
There
a
you
Stonemeyer
go.
Champion.
Champion, they get you a discount. And there we go.
I
We
can
got-
do that.
These guys got it
Yeah.
covered. All right, we don't have to worry about it.
Apiary will be on the table here at Beans and Dice not too long from now.
More whiskey.
Hopefully after
mead
the TI4.
with some mead.
Oh,
Mead?
Mead. With
Oh,
because
honey mead?
honey,
Yeah.
that'd be great.
All right.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
We're
So
cultural.
Smart
themey.
man. Yeah,
Yeah.
theming.
But when do you start hatcheting again?
What's like a bee horror movie like from the 70s where the bees attack?
I still remember as a kid those movies scared the crap out of me. Those bee
Bees?
attack movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bees.
Oh
like
man.
the
Oh.
swarm of African bees coming up from Mexico, like
never
Climbing in
70s
through
movie.
the
Never worried
The
about
vents,
bees.
we've seen the same horror
yes,
movie.
they're climbing in through the AC vent of the lady's little hatchback.
Bees are fine.
Oh my
Crows
gosh.
maybe, but yeah, no bees. Yeah.
No, if there's a wasp expansion, you have to watch out for that.
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
Wasps are no
Was it
good.
the murder wasp, murder hornets?
No, the white Anglo-Saxon Protestants.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's what it is. So the,
Wow.
I'm always on the lookout for those.
WASP. Gotcha.
Viewers have spiked
Anyway,
again.
so this brings us to our end of our show.
I do have to say, I watch some live streams. Some of the ones that Wayne have introduced me to of board game content. Folks that have like maybe 3, 5, 10 times the subscriber count we have, and they're pulling about the same number of people watching live as we are.
Yeah.
Like that's crazy. Like the fact that we will get on the regular 10 people
10, 15,
appreciate-
who
20.
will sit here for 2 hours
Appreciate our audience,
Yeah.
our hardcore
and
audience.
listen to
Yeah.
this.
crap.
But all those people need to give us
Sorry.
a like, please.
Yeah.
Like the video. We get 10, 15, 20 people watching and for 3 or 4 likes. So we really, please, if you're watching, you need to like the video.
Yeah, just hit the thumbs
Hit like,
up.
but it doesn't do anything.
Tell
for
your
you.
friends about what we're doing.
Yeah. Call in.
Great calls today, though, wasn't it?
Really?
It was awesome.
Great.
Yeah,
Great
it's good-
calls.
good show.
Yeah.
I love it. I love how Chris
Very-
established the Chris. I got it right this time. Chris established the "Giveth the Beans"
Yeah.
caller version.
I like it.
I like that.
We have
I'm-
Nick
I'm
on. We
down
get
for
4
that.
callers. We have other people on. We get 1. Yeah.
Oh, because they want to hear us talk. When
Oh, yeah,
other
yeah,
callers
yeah.
are on. When
So
Nick's on, they're
If-
like,
if
"No,
we
we're
have
taking
Nick-
yeah,
it."
we
if
gotta
have
cover
Nick-
up the
if we
Nick's
have Nick
factor.
and
Yeah.
Ron in here, then we might get like 10
Lots of
calls.
callers. Yeah, try to block them out.
Which is funny because we're like 2 of the regular callers.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
was a regular caller before I
Yeah.
became a regular
Yeah.
on the show.
The Hatchet has a break every 10 weeks. So it's the thing. Every 10 weeks I can be here.
Once every 10 weeks.
Yeah.
You tell us.
So no next
tell us
week,
ahead of
you can't
time
be here
so I
next
can make sure it's on the calendar.
There you go.
Yeah. All right.
All right, folks. That gets us to 11:20.
11:20. Yeah.
We got to work tomorrow.
I know.
Oh yeah,
I'm
Ron
off.
Frazier.
I'm
It's
off
a
tomorrow.
Friday, dude. We
Yeah, I'm
gotta
off
really
tomorrow.
work. It's Florida. We don't
Comment
work
on the
Fridays.
videos.
Yeah. Like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff.
I guess we're doing the Oben thing again. Mrs. Oben.
Miss
Thanks
Oben.
for calling. all you folks, thanks for watching. Share with your friends. I will post this up as a podcast for those of you that like to listen afterwards. Just make sure you download that. Put comments on whatever podcast system you're using, and then also do that. Rate and review. Mitch and Wayne, they're regularly
podcast.
throwing up the podcast,
Audio.
the audio version
We're
of the
just
podcast.
we're trying to push traffic here to the Thursday
Nice.
night show.
Both ways. Both ways.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm loving it. So thank you all. I'm Carlos,
I'm Rob.
I'm Wayne.
I'm Nick.
and we're the Beans and Ice Podcast, the podcast about
How we game.
Thanks for watching. Good night, everybody. Oh, happy birthday, Mikey.
Bye,
Thanks for
Love you,
watching
Mikey.
Beans and Dice Podcast. Don't forget
Who's
to
that?
like and subscribe.
That's right. Like and subscribe. She told you to.